Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if villagers tried to kill Naruto and Anbu found him and took him under their wing. Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Naruto walked down the street, one hand on his stomach, the other swinging at his side. He was hungry. Very hungry. He walked into the grocery store near his apartment, and then walked to the microwavable foods section, picking up a cup of instant ramen and walking to the counter. He set the cup on the counter and began to dig out money from his pockets. I don't want your money, the store clerk snapped. I'm not selling to a monster like you. Get out of here, I'm not a monster. Naruto snapped, slamming the money down on the counter. I'm going to become Hokage. And money is money, so just take it. I'd rather starve to death than accept your money. The clerk snapped. Get out of here, you monster. Your money is no good here. Just then, Naruto's stomach rumbled. He winced, holding a hand to it as his other hand slipped off the counter, leaving the money. Naruto's head fell, staring at his feet as he turned, walking out of the store. The clerk blinked in surprise, then looked down at the money Naruto had left. More than double what the ramen cup cost. He shook his head, then looked around before sweeping the money into his wallet. Naruto stumbled down a back alley, deciding to take a shortcut home. As he did, he froze. The other end of the alley was blocked by a pair of men, one holding a 2x4 with several nails sticking out of the end, and the other a lead pipe. Naruto sighed. He didn't want to deal with this right now. He couldn't go to class at the academy if he got beat up again. He turned to leave, but the closer end of the alley was also blocked. This end had one man with a large stone and one with a kunai. Please, I just want to go home, Naruto said, stomach rumbling again. Too bad, monster, the man with the kunai snarled. We're sick of you infecting our village. We're going to put a stop to it. Naruto sighed and nodded. Alright, Naruto nodded. But I'll warn you, I'm a ninja in the academy. I'll kick your asses. I don't care if you're a Jonin captain, the man with the stone spat. You'll never be welcome here, and no one will miss you. Naruto took a step forward just as something solid and metal slammed into the back of his head, his goggles flying off. He hit the ground, vision blurry and his head numb yet screaming in pain at the same time. His vision returned and he looked up to see the man with the pipe, which now had blood on it. The others all walked over and the man with the knife knelt, grinning. I'll do the honors, the man smirked. Goodbye, demon. Then, he drove the knife down into Naruto's back. Naruto couldn't even shout in pain. His vision flared white, and he heard the men laughing before their voices grew faint. Naruto's vision returned, allowing him to see the puddle of blood that had formed under him, and the reflections of people passing the alleyway, paying him no mind. His heart fell. No one, not one, even cared enough to make sure he was dead. The pain in his back was unbearable, even blotting out his hunger. He looked to the side and saw his goggles, crushed and ruined. Why do they hate me so much? Naruto thought as he saw his goggles. He tried to move, but his strength failed him instantly, and his vision began to fade. He felt a tear sliding across his nose into the puddle of blood, but then his vision was gone. Naruto groaned, eyes opening slowly. As they did, he saw that he was in a dimly lit room with only one candle for light. The walls were all made of wood, and there was someone sitting beside Naruto. He looked over at them, first noticing the long purple hair, then the Anbu mask styled after a cat. He blinked in surprise before looking around again, then down. His torso was wrapped in bandages, but to his relief, he was wearing his pants still. How do you feel? The Anbu asked. My back hurts a bit, Naruto said. And my head. My medical skills are limited, she said. I'll be able to heal you, but it will take a couple of days. But I'll miss class. Naruto gasped. I gotta go. You're not going anywhere, the Anbu said, before taking her mask off and sighing, setting it aside. Look, Naruto. You've already been asleep for 2 days. You lost a lot of blood when you were attacked. You've been declared dead. I what? Naruto gaped. But I'm alive. That's true, she said. Because my team and I found you before you could bleed out. But as far as the village knows, you died in that alleyway. Perhaps that's for the best. You can start a new life under a different name. No one would know who you are. And if you want, my team and I can even train you. Really? Naruto asked, eyes wide. That'd be so cool. Good, she nodded. Then the first 2 things we need to do are to create a new identity for you, and then to train you. But how long will that take? Once you've been healed, we'll spend a week training you and creating a new identity, then clear it with Lord Hokage. Then, we'll re-enroll you in the academy. Will I have to start over? Naruto asked. No, she said. Just then, a door in the corner opened and 2 more Anbu walked in. Both saw that the cat Anbu had taken her mask off, so they followed suit. One had red eyes with black tomo in them, teardrops, and raven black hair like Sasuke's, who he looked a lot like. The other had a square face and messy brown hair. Are we not hiding our identities from him? The Uchiha asked. No, the cat Anbu said. We're going to be training him in addition to creating him a new identity. So I figured we might as well be honest with him. Are we now? The Uchiha asked, smiling. Very well then. My name is Itachi Uchiha. I am the son of the head of my clan and Sasuke Uchiha's older brother. I believe you know Sasuke. Naruto nodded. I'm Yugao Yuzuki, the cat Anbu said. My current name is Tenzo, the other said. I actually don't have a real one, so I just identify by whatever code name I have at the time. Naruto nodded. So, who am I going to be? Naruto asked. Menma Uzumaki, Itachi said. You'll be a survivor from a small group of Uzumaki who was sent here to find Naruto Uzumaki, one of the very few surviving members of your village. However, you'll get a message after you arrive that the rest of your group was wiped out by bandits, leaving you as an orphan with nowhere else to go but to stay here. However, we'll need to work on your personality more than anything else. Discipline first, then turning you into something other than a prankster. Hopefully something quieter. You already considered all of this, didn't you? Yugao grinned. I may have, Itachi shrugged. Could you make me the strong silent type like Sasuke? Naruto asked. Well, it's more about how you choose to act, Itachi said. If you want to be the strong silent type, we can make you strong, but you have to work to be silent. Like I said, discipline will be first. I'll be drilling you for that. How come you three have so much time to work with me? Naruto asked. We've been assigned as your bodyguards since your attack, Itachi said. Naruto nodded. So, how are you going to make me not look like me? Naruto asked. Simple, Itachi said. A mask with a simple transformation jutsu placed on it. Huh? Naruto asked. Itachi held a mask out to him, and Naruto took it, staring at it. It was a fox, he thought. It had a vertical solid oval on its forehead with an oval ring around it, but with the higher end of the ring larger than the bottom. There was a second ring extending out of the first with the bottoms joined. A vertical line ran from the top of the mask to the top of the second ring, then continued down from the bottom of the rings a couple of inches, stopping just below the eyes. The eyes were identical to the rings and oval on the forehead, except with the ovals being the eye holes and with the markings rotated about 45 degrees outward from the line between them. There was also a marking on the chin that was the same but inverted from the one on the forehead and half the size. The mask's mouth was an obtuse triangle maybe an inch high and 2 wide with a line extending diagonally up and back from the bottom corners of the triangle to the edges of the mask. The mask also had a pair of pointed ears. The ears were a pair of triangles the same shade of bloody red as the rest of the markings on the mask. To hold the mask on, there was a wide elastic strap to go around his head. Naruto put the mask on and looked around. Despite being small, the eye holes actually didn't hamper his vision very much at all. Itachi held up a small mirror and Naruto looked at his reflection, eyes widening. His blonde hair was now a dark red, only a couple of shades brighter than the markings on his mask. He pulled the mask off and his hair turned blonde again. He grinned. He liked it. How come you guys don't need a strap like this to hold your masks on? Naruto asked. Well, our masks are special, Tenzo said. They have a jutsu on them to hold them on our faces. Really? Naruto asked. Itachi nodded. We'll teach that to you later, Yugao said. Itachi's right. You'll have to get a new personality first. Naruto nodded, pulling his mask back on. A week had passed in the blink of an eye. Naruto, now Menma, even when talking to Itachi and Tenzo, though Yugao still called him Naruto, had not become the strong, silent, arrogant type like Sasuke. He was a lot quieter now, but more of a polite, respectful type of quiet. To go with his mask, he now wore an open black coat with short sleeves over a white t-shirt, black pants and sandals, and gauntlets with metal plates running up the outsides and metal knuckle guards. On the back of the jacket was a large red spiral like the ones on Konoha flak jackets, which Itachi explained was the Uzumaki clan symbol. Itachi had taught him some in hand-to-hand combat, along with kenjutsu and kunai fighting techniques, but most of all had taught him the shadow clone technique. Menma stepped into his classroom and looked around. His classmates looked pretty awful to be perfectly honest. Sakura and Ino both had dark circles under their eyes, Kiba and Sasuke both had an empty look in their eyes, Shikamaru was just staring at the wall, Choji was staring at a full bag of potato chips without eating anything. Shino, a kid Naruto knew next to nothing about and who had pretty much his entire face covered, looked unfazed by the supposed death of his classmate, seeming as emotionless as ever. However, it was Hinata that caught Menma's attention. Her eyes were bloodshot and the skin around them was red, and she sniffed every couple of seconds, and wiped her eyes, even though there were no tears. Can I help you? Iruka asked. Menma turned to him and nodded. Yes, my name is Menma Uzumaki, Naruto said. I was sent by a small group of my surviving clan members to find another survivor from our clan. I was told that there was a Naruto Uzumaki in this class. Oh, I see, Iruka said. You haven't heard? Naruto Uzumaki is dead. Menma waited, making it seem like he was having trouble digesting the news. What? Menma asked. How did he die? He was mugged, Iruka said, and Menma raised an eyebrow. Did he really not know, or was that just a cover story? He was stabbed to death by thieves, Iruka said. In the back of the room, Menma heard a quiet sob and looked, seeing Hinata holding her hands to her face, crying. Why was she crying? Did she really care about him that much? It had been a week already. I see, Menma nodded. Then I suppose I've wasted my time. I apologize for the intrusion. He bowed and Irika blinked in surprise. Oh, it's alright, Irika said. Menma turned to leave just as Itachi appeared in front of him in his ANBU uniform. Are you Menma Uzumaki? Itachi asked. Yes, Menma nodded. I have a letter from your people, Itachi said, handing him the letter he himself had written. It was on a wounded messenger hawk. Menma took the letter and Itachi disappeared. Menma grinned behind his mask. There were blood stains and tears on the letter. Itachi had gone all out making it. He scanned it, getting the general idea. His family had been attacked by unknown ninja and the message was to tell Menma not to come home because there would be nothing waiting for him. After a moment, Menma opened his fingers, allowing the paper to fall to the ground. Is everything all right? Irika asked. Menma didn't respond. Irika walked over, picking up the letter, eyes widening as he saw the state it was in. He read it silently before his eyes widened. Oh, he breathed. Io. Just then, another Konoha shinobi that Naruto recognized as Ebisu, who helped Irika out often, walked in but froze when he saw Irika's face and what he was holding. What's wrong? Ebisu asked. I have to take this boy to speak with the Hokage, Irika said. Watch the class. Ebisu nodded and Irika led Menma out of the room. As they walked, Irika glanced down at Menma. I'm so sorry, he said. I can't imagine how you must feel. No, you can't, Menma said. But thank you. Irika nodded as they reached the Hokage's door. He knocked and the Hokage told them to enter, so Irika pushed the door open, stepping inside, Menma following. Hiruzen studied Menma for a moment as Irika walked forward, handing the letter to him. Hiruzen raised an eyebrow at the letter before adopting a serious face and nodding. Go back to class, Irika, Hiruzen said. I must speak with Menma alone. Irika bowed then left. Once the door was closed, Menma pulled his mask off, his hair changing from the red that was supposedly common among full-blood Uzumaki, back to its natural blonde. So, you're starting today then, Naruto? Hiruzen asked. Very well. However, I'm not putting up with your usual pranks. You're a different person now. I expect you to act like it. If I see you in here, I will not be lenient. Oh, and your apartment is taken, so I'll be giving you your mother's house. It's technically reserved for Uzumaki, and you weren't supposed to get it until you came of age, but since your cover story has you being of age among Uzumaki, you might as well have it. Just don't destroy it. I won't, Naruto said. We should probably get me to class now, don't you agree, Lord Hokage? Yes, my boy, I do believe that would be best. Naruto pulled his mask back on and Hiruzen stood, putting on his hat and leading Naruto back to the classroom. As they stepped in, Irika, who had been mid-lecture, stopped, waiting to see what Hiruzen had decided. Class, I would like to introduce Menma Uzumaki, Hiruzen said. He'll be a part of your class from now on. Please be respectful to him. The class greeted him all at once, as was customary when a new student arrived, and Menma walked up to his old seat, sitting down and looking around. A few of his classmates glanced at him, but for the most part no one paid him any mind. Well, except one. Hey, new kid, a voice behind him said. Menma. Menma twisted around, finding Choji leaning forward to talk to him. What's with the fancy clothes and the mask? Choji asked. Well, all Uzumaki shinobi wear masks, Menma said. Technically that was true. According to Itachi, the ANBU uniform was based off of the most common Uzumaki uniform. As for the rest of the outfit, it's just comfortable, Menma shrugged. But wait, so, shinobi? Choji asked. Like, already graduated academy shinobi? We don't have an academy, Menma said. We are a small group. So we trained as shinobi from the time we were young. So, you're already a genin? Choji asked. Kind of, Menma nodded. But the Hokage made me agree to continue through the academy with you and pass the exam in order to be recognized as a Leaf Village shinobi. Choji nodded and Menma turned back around. Irika was teaching something that Itachi had already taught him, or at least, he hoped he was. He was having trouble paying attention like always. He turned to look back at Hinata, seeing that she was still crying. He felt bad. Part of him wanted to call the charade off just so she would cheer up. However, he had already agreed to it, and it would raise too many questions. So for now, he had to deal with it, and hope she cheered up eventually. Menma turned back to the front, forcing himself to focus on the class. If nothing else, he had to keep up the disguise of being a good student. Naruto readied himself as Itachi walked around him slowly. Naruto wasn't a fan of sparring with Itachi. He always lost. But it was beneficial. After all, sparring with someone with Sharingan was always challenging. And it was well worth it to finally be better than Sasuke. Itachi sprinted at him from the right and Naruto spun toward him, ducking under a punch then flipping over a kick, kicking downward at Itachi. Itachi caught his foot and spun, hurling him. Naruto flipped, landing on the ground in his right hand, then sprinted forward again. Itachi blocked and dodged several strikes before Naruto drew a kunai, slashing at him. Itachi trapped Naruto's arm under his own then drew his own kunai, placing it to Naruto's throat. Naruto grinned suddenly as a second leapt up behind Itachi, spinning and kicking at him. Itachi crouched at the last second, allowing the kick to pass over him before slamming his captured Naruto into the second. Both exploded into smoke and Naruto burst out of the ground behind Itachi, punching at him. Itachi spun, sweeping the punch aside, then grabbed Naruto by the throat, slamming him into the ground and putting his kunai to his throat. Dead, Itachi said. Impressive. You've gotten better. Yeah, but I still can't fight you, Naruto complained. That's because I have the Sharingan and years more training than you, Itachi stated. Now I have some matters to attend to. You'll be training with Yugao and Tenzo for the rest of today. Naruto nodded and Itachi left with the body flicker technique. Naruto turned to Tenzo and Yugao, who looked at each other before shrugging. We'll be working with Jutsu today, Tenzo decided. First, we'll need to know your chakra nature. Here, he held out a small square of paper and Naruto took it, cocking his head. Channel your chakra into that, and the paper's reaction will tell us your chakra nature, Tenzo explained. Naruto nodded, beginning to channel his chakra into it. After a moment, it split in half before both pieces grew damp and fell forward. Wind and water, Tenzo said. Alright. We can work with that. Hold on, Tenzo, Yugao said. It's good that we know his chakra nature, but maybe we should start with some simple sealing jutsus. They can be just as effective, but they require less chakra. But I don't know of many sealing jutsus that are used to attack, do you? Tenzo asked. No, but I know of several used for defense, Yugao said. As well as storage seals for weapons. But if he has no offensive jutsus, he'll be a sitting duck hiding behind his seals until his opponent breaks them, Tenzo argued. Can I do both? Naruto asked. Tenzo can teach a clone offensive jutsus and Yugao can teach me sealing jutsus. They looked at each other, then shrugged and nodded. Naruto created a clone who followed Tenzo away from Yugao and Naruto. Naruto turned to Yugao, who unrolled a scroll on the ground, displaying several different sealing jutsus, all low level but for various uses. Obviously I can't teach you anything super powerful at the moment because you're not strong enough, but I can teach you some basic seals, like small storage seals, Yugao said. Keep in mind, the bigger the seal, the more chakra you need. Since we haven't got a whole lot of chakra at the moment, especially since you split it into a clone, we'll be taking it easy and keeping the seals simple. The first is just a storage seal. She demonstrated it, forming several hand seals, moving slowly so that he could see which she used, then set her hand on the ground. A small empty circle of seals spread from her palm onto the ground. Then, she set a kunai on it and made the ram hand seal. The weapon was covered in smoke, and when the smoke cleared, the middle of the circle had the kanji for full in it. She made the ram hand seal again and smoke covered the seal before clearing to reveal the kunai and a once again empty seal. It can only hold one item at a time, Yugao said. But the size of the seal itself can be varied to fit more on an object like a scroll. Now you try. Naruto copied her hand seals and set his hand on the ground. Nothing. He tried again but still nothing. You're just copying my movements, Yugao said. You have to use chakra too. Focus your chakra as you make the hand seals, then send a pulse into the ground when you put your hand down. Naruto nodded and tried again. This time, as he sent out the pulse of chakra, the seal spread outward from his palm. He grinned and Yugao smiled, handing him the kunai. He set it in the circle and made the ram's seal, channeling chakra into the seal, under her instruction. A cloud of smoke covered the weapon, then cleared and left the kunai's blade behind, the handle having been sealed without it. Naruto stared at the kunai blade, then tried the ram hand seal again. This time, the handle was on the ground, but the kunai blade was gone. Yugao picked up the handle and Naruto tried again. The blade reappeared and Yugao picked it up, inspecting the spot where it was separated. Well, that's a new one, Yugao blinked. I've never seen that happen before. Naruto sighed. Sorry, he apologized. Don't be, she smiled. You're learning. Besides, kunai are free for Anbu. At any rate here. Keep trying. She handed Naruto another kunai, and he tried again with a similar result. She set 3 more on the ground beside her, then made the seal of confrontation, and her seal faded. She walked over to Tenzo and the clone just as the clone fired a stream of water about as strong as the flow from a sink faucet out of his mouth onto the ground in front of him. No luck here either, huh? Yugao asked. No, Tenzo said. His chakra control isn't very good, though we're working on it. You aren't kidding, Yugao laughed, showing him the kunai Naruto had broken. This was done by a storage seal. For real? Tenzo laughed. Wow. That's almost impressive. Yugao nodded just as Naruto cheered. She turned to look as he made the ram hand seal, retrieving an intact kunai from the seal. She smiled. He's a pretty quick learner, Tenzo commented. What's it been? 3 minutes and he's gotten the hang of that one. Yugao nodded. It may not be a very high-level jutsu, but it's the first time anyone's taught him jutsu, aside from Itachi teaching him the shadow clone jutsu. He's going to be interesting to teach, Tenzo said. Alright Naruto, try again. And this time, make sure you build up your chakra as much as you can. Naruto formed several hand seals, inhaling. Then, he fired a slightly stronger stream of water out of his mouth. Did you tell him how to pressurize chakra? Yugao asked. Good point, Tenzo said. I actually didn't. If his control was a bit better he wouldn't need to though. Yes, but since he's as young as he is, shouldn't we be teaching him how to perform the jutsus the easy way before we teach him how to do it the hard way? Yugao asked. It's a weaker technique, sure, But it's a good place to start until he gets his chakra control up. Tenzo nodded and Yuga walked back to Naruto as he resummoned the kunai for the millionth time. Good job, she smiled. Ready for the next one? He nodded, smiling, and she grinned. Tenzo was right. He would be an interesting student. Menma sat down in his seat, the other students filing in one at a time. As Iruka walked in, Naruto noticed one seat was empty. Sasuke's. He was never late. Or absent. As far as Menma knew, at least. Not that he had always been around to see Sasuke there. Alright class, today we're going to be practicing hand to Sasuke? Iruka gasped as the Uchiha walked into the room. His face was empty, even more so than usual, but something about him seemed off. As though he were angry about something. What are you doing here? Iruka asked. I would have thought you'd be out of class for a little while after. If I miss too much class I can't graduate, Sasuke said. I can't afford that. Now more than ever, Menma watched as Sasuke walked to his seat and sat down. What did he mean? What had happened that would make Iruka allow him to stay out of school? Anyway, as I was saying, today we'll be sparring again, Iruka said. So, in an orderly fashion, please head out to the yard. Everyone stood, beginning to head toward the door. Menma caught Iruka looking around cautiously before his face fell and he began to stare at the floor. Was he looking for me? Menma thought. Nah. Couldn't be. He wouldn't look so sad if he was. All I ever did was give him a hard time. Menma followed the others out to the yard, standing with the group off to the side as usual. Iruka raised his clipboard, staring at it for a moment before calling out Shikamaru and Choji. Choji, a fat kid with spiral designs customary of his clan on his cheeks, along with messy brown hair, walked into the sparring circle first, followed by Shikamaru, the lazy kid who had his black hair and a spiky ponytail and who was probably one of the smartest, if not the absolute smartest, in the class. They stood in the ring, and almost instantly, Choji raised his hand. Sensei? Choji asked. Is it alright if we don't fight? I really don't want to fight against my friends. Yes, Choji, Iruka sighed. You have to fight. Consider it as training. Suddenly, Shikamaru turned, walking out of the ring. It's alright, Sensei, Shikamaru said. You can just mark down that I went out of bounds. Again, Menma grinned behind his mask. He was having a serious sense of deja vu. Shikamaru and Choji made the unison sign, then walked out of the circle, and Iruka called out the next two. Sasuke Uchiha, Iruka said. And Nar and Menma Uzumaki. Menma looked at Iruka, eyes wide, before seeing that Iruka's face was contorted in pain and sadness. He did miss Naruto. He actually did care. Menma silently walked to the ring, facing Sasuke and taking off his gloves, setting them to the side so that he didn't punch Sasuke with his metal knuckles. Then, he made the seal of confrontation and Sasuke did the same. Begin! Iruka said. They both sprinted forward and Sasuke threw a punch. Naruto ducked under it, then swept Sasuke's legs out from under him, knocking him onto his back and crouching over him, left arm supporting himself on Sasuke's abdomen, and right fist hovering over Sasuke's face. Sasuke stared at the fist, then up at the mask in shock. He narrowed his eyes suspiciously before smiling slightly. Looks like it's time for a new Mr. Popular around here, you know? Sasuke asked, smile growing slightly as Menma pulled back a little. Whatever, loser, Menma said, not unkindly. Sasuke's smile grew before something flashed through his eyes and it vanished instantly. Menma stood, holding out his hand. Sasuke accepted it, allowing Menma to pull him to his feet. They made the unison sign, then Menma picked up his gloves, pulling them back on. They walked over to the others as Sakura and Ino were called into the ring. Menma noticed Sasuke walking away from the group and followed. Is everything okay? Menma asked. No, Sasuke said. I know who you really are, Menma Uzumaki. I don't know exactly why you're pretending to be someone else, and I don't care. I won't say anything. Thank you, Menma nodded. Now, what's wrong? I take it you didn't hear, Sasuke said. Last night, one of my clansmen went rogue and slaughtered my entire clan except me. He what? Menma gaped. No way. What about Itachi? Is he? You know Itachi? Sasuke asked. He's been training me, Menma said. He's one of the 3 Anbu that saved my life when the villagers tried to kill me. I see, Sasuke said. Well, he's still alive. But I thought you said. Menma trailed off as the information clicked. No. You're lying. Itachi wouldn't do that. I thought so too, Sasuke said. Don't you think I want my own older brother to be innocent? But he told me what he did. I saw him do it. Itachi is a traitor. And someday, I'm going to kill him. But why? Menma asked. Why would Itachi do that? I don't know, Sasuke said. And personally, I don't care. Maybe the Hokage knows, Menma suggested. Maybe if I ask, he'll tell me. Maybe, Sasuke shrugged. Will you? Of course, Menma nodded. I want to know too. Sasuke nodded and Menma turned back to the fight just as Ino and Sakura punched each other in the face, staggering backward and stepping out of bounds at the same time. Have either of them ever beaten the other? Menma asked. I don't think so, no, Sasuke smirked. The two of them walked back to the rest of the group and Menma found himself beside Hinata. As was seeming usual now, she was crying. He was amazed she had any tears left. But most of all he felt guilty. Are you alright? Menma asked. I think you've been crying ever since I got here. Hinata looked at him, then at the ground. I'm alright, Hinata nodded. That's a lie, Menma stated. What's wrong? It's nothing, Hinata said. You can talk to me, Menma said. It's just Naruto. I used to look up to Naruto, Hinata said, restraining herself from bursting into fits of sobs. And when he died, I realized I never got to tell him. She stopped, shaking her head. No, it doesn't matter anymore, Hinata said. He's gone now. Maybe not, Menma said. In fact, he might be closer than you think. Hinata looked up at him confused. My clan believed that those who were lost would always be there to watch over those they care about, and those that cared about them, Menma said. But he never even noticed me, Hinata said. Menma felt a pang of guilt. She was right. He had never paid her much attention. Not even enough to notice that she apparently cared about him quite a lot. That's alright, Menma said. According to my elder, if you truly love someone, they'll come back to you. Just not always in the way you expect. In fact, sometimes, you may not even notice that they're there for a while. He also said that if you care about someone enough and they die, even if they never knew you, when they die they are drawn to you by your feelings for them, and they watch over you as a sort of repayment for having ignored you in life. So maybe Naruto is already right by your side. Hinata stared at him for a moment before throwing her arms around him. He blinked before hugging her back. After a moment she pulled away, smiling. Thank you, she smiled. You're welcome, Menma smiled. I'm always here if you need me. She smiled and nodded, and Menma looked around, seeing several people, especially Sasuke and Sakura, watching them out of the corner of their eyes. Sasuke especially was grinning, since he knew the truth. Naruto knocked on the Hokage's door and was told to enter. When he stepped inside, he found Yugao and a Jonin that he didn't recognize standing before the Hokage's desk. Ah, hello Menma, Hiruzen greeted. How can I help? I was wondering if I could talk to you alone, Menma asked. Hiruzen nodded, handing a scroll to the Jonin, who bowed and left. Yugao began to walk out as well, but Hiruzen called for her to stay. She nodded, shutting the door and placing a seal on it that Menma didn't recognize. The silencing seal is in place, Yugao said, pulling off her mask as Hiruzen closed the blinds on his windows. You can take off your mask now, Naruto. Naruto nodded, pulling it off, then looked back at Yugao, who had tear stains on her cheeks. Is it true that Itachi killed his clan? Naruto asked. It is, Hiruzen nodded. I assume you want to know why. Yes, Naruto nodded. Yugao looked questioningly at Hiruzen. Very well, Hiruzen nodded. Yugao, I asked you to stay because you also deserve to know, as he was a friend of yours. However, neither of you are allowed to tell anyone, especially his younger brother, Sasuke Uchiha. Both nodded, though Naruto had no intention of keeping the promise. Very well, Hiruzen nodded. The Uchiha clan was planning a coup d'etat. Itachi and one of his fellow clansmen, Shursui Uchiha, reported it to us, and confirmed that the Uchiha had no intention of stopping. Shursui Uchiha tried to use a visual ability of his to stop the Uchiha, however for reasons unknown, was unable to. He later committed suicide, also for reasons unknown. As the situation had become too dire to ignore, and with no other options, Itachi presented a solution. He would kill the entirety of his clan, posing as a rogue ninja, and in exchange Sasuke Uchiha would be spared and allowed to remain in the village and remain unaware of the crimes his clan had committed. He had been innocent of the whole thing, so we agreed. We being myself, the village elders, and Danzo Shimura, a man in charge of the foundation, a separate part of Konoha's ANBU Black Ops. Last night, Itachi carried out his plan, and slaughtered his clansmen. So, it was to protect the Hidden Leaf Village and Sasuke? Naruto asked. That's right, Hiruzen nodded. Then why not say that? Why brand him a traitor? Because we can't afford to look weak to the other villages, Hiruzen said. It could start a war if we do. Naruto cocked his head to the side before nodding. I see, Naruto nodded. You're a coward, and because of that Itachi had to pay the price. Naruto, that's enough. Yugao snapped. Lord Hokage is right. It was the best option. Someone should at least tell Sasuke, Naruto said. He thinks his brother is a monster and wants to kill him. No, Hiruzen said. Itachi made us vow to not tell Sasuke. He believes the best way for Sasuke to become strong is for Sasuke to hate him. I disagree, Naruto said. If Sasuke is ruled by hate, he'll do anything to kill Itachi. He's got a completely one-track mind. He'd probably go rogue himself if it meant gaining the power to kill Itachi. You would prefer him knowing that his entire family, including his mother and father, were traitors and the only way to stop them was for his brother to single-handedly slaughter them? Hiruzen asked. Yes, Naruto said. Because then at least he wouldn't hate his only remaining family member over a lie. What if he still hates him for killing his parents, instead of finding a way to save them? Yugao asked. Then at least he knows the truth, Naruto said. It's better to know the truth than live according to a lie. Yugao considered this before looking to Hiruzen. Very well, Hiruzen sighed. Although Itachi will be furious with me, I will tell Sasuke the truth. However, this will likely push Sasuke's blame and hatred onto myself, and the village elders as well. I'll handle that, Naruto said. Just tell him the truth. Very well, Hiruzen nodded. Yugao, please fetch Sasuke for me. And Naruto, you head home. Tenzo will meet you there for today's training. Naruto nodded and pulled his mask back and then followed Yugao out of the building before they went their separate ways, Yugao to find Sasuke and Naruto to go home. Menma sat down beside Hinata. She smiled at him, but it faded after a moment, and she stared at the desk again. He sighed. Then, he looked around the room. Sasuke was seated at the middle of a desk a few rows down from him and in the middle column, with Ino on his left and Sakura on his right, both of them practically drooling as they begged him to date them. Sasuke ignored them completely. Why is Sasuke so popular with girls? Menma asked. They all like the strong silent type, I guess, Hinata said. You don't like him? Menma asked. Not like they do, Hinata said. I cared about Naruto. I was just never able to tell him. It's alright, Menma said. Just think. Today, we're getting assigned to our Jonin captains. Hinata nodded. Alright class, as of today, you are all Genin, Irika said. All of the Genin will be grouped into 3-man squads led by a Jonin, an elite ninja. Ino and Sakura both looked at Sasuke before squealing in delight. Menma smirked behind his mask. What was it that Sakura saw in Sasuke that made him so much better? As he thought about it, he began to realize he didn't really care. He blinked in surprise. When did he stop caring about Sakura? Team 7 will be Menma Uzumaki, Irika said, Menma starting to pay attention at the mention of his name, Sakura Haruno, and Sasuke Uchiha. Alright. Sakura cheered as Ino hung her head. Sasuke turned his head, grinning back at Menma before turning back to the front. Menma hadn't spoken to Sasuke about what Hiruzen had told him yet. At least this way he would be able to have plenty of time. Menma turned her head, seeing Hinata wearing a disappointed look. Guess you won't be there all the time after all, Hinata said. Don't worry, Menma smiled behind his mask. I'll still be there for you. I'll just have to do it between missions. Hinata smiled and nodded. Next, Squad 8, Irika continued. Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburame. I'd hate to be on your squad, Ino was saying to Shikamaru. Now Squad 10, Irika spoke up. Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara. Ha! Shikamaru laughed. Did you say something about hating to be on my squad? And Shihoji Akimichi, Irika finished as Ino put her hands to the sides of her head in despair. Those are all the squads. Irika-sensei, can I trade squads? Ino asked. Switch me and Sakura. Or me and Menma. Don't drag me into this, Menma laughed. You got your squad. There's no trading, Irika said. After lunch, you'll meet your new Jonin teachers. Until then, class dismissed. The students all stood, beginning to file out of the room, and Menma walked out with Hinata. Good luck with your new squad, Hinata, Menma said. I'm sure you'll be great. Thank you, she stammered. You too, thanks, he beamed. I gotta get going. There's someone I'm supposed to meet for lunch today. See you later. Hinata nodded and Menma leapt to the roof of a nearby building, then from there leapt across the roofs quickly until he reached the field where he and his 2 remaining ANBU teachers usually trained. Hello Menma, Yugao greeted. Anything interesting happen at school today? I got stuck on a squad with Sakura and Sasuke, Naruto sighed, rolling his eyes. Is that not a good thing? Yugao asked. I was under the impression you really like Sakura. Well, I mean, yeah, I used to, Menma shrugged. I don't know, I guess I just don't anymore. I was actually kind of hoping to get on a squad with Hinata. Oh really? Yugao asked, grinning behind her mask. Don't start, Naruto grumbled. It's not like that. I think. Anyway, what are you teaching me today? Well, first, we're going to reinforce your mask with chakra for you. That way it'll be able to get hit without breaking, Yugao said, holding out her hand. Then I'll be teaching you some low-level restraining and paralysis seals. Tenzo is going to continue to teach you offensive jutsus. As usual, actually I'm going to teach you basic puppet jutsu, Tenzo said. It can be used to control weapons or puppets from a distance and, at higher levels, even other people. Now that sounds fun, Menma grinned, pulling his mask off and handing it to Yugao. She channeled her chakra into the mask glowing slightly for a moment before she stopped and handed it back, allowing him to pull it on. Alright, Yugao said. Now, these seals don't require hand seals, but they do require a lot of chakra control. Maybe we should be working on that then, Menma suggested. We have been, Yugao said. Every time we had you channeling your chakra into random objects or create and operate seals, you're improving your chakra control. Yes, but if I mess up a paralysis seal like I did the storage sphere, I might hurt you, Menma said. You're really worried, aren't you? Yugao asked. Alright. We'll work on chakra control. Here, she handed Menma a kunai, then held up her own. Chakra began to stream along it, at first slowly but then raging along the blade. Stream your chakra through the blade so that the chakra on either side of the blade roll against each other, as though sharpening the blade, Yugao said. That way, if you throw it at say a tree, it does this. She turned, throwing the kunai, and it streaked through the air, drilling its way through the tree and then into a boulder behind it. Menma gaped at the damage before looking back at Yugao. So, just make my chakra grind against the blade? Menma asked. Yes, she nodded. It's actually a pretty high-level skill, so it'll take you a while to get it. Menma held his kunai up, streaming his chakra into it, then trying to follow her instructions. However, while her chakra had come out looking like spikes racing along the blade, his looked rounded and moved much slower. He grit his teeth, trying to force it to work, but it didn't change. After a moment, he threw it, but the kunai went no deeper than if he had thrown one without his chakra. Man, that's hard, Menma said. Like I said, that technique is pretty high level, Yugao said. If you were able to do it first try, I'd be having you teach me. The technique requires a lot of chakra control. The more you have, the easier it is and the faster you can start it. Once you get the technique itself down, you can also extend the chakra shroud it creates, turning the chakra into a sort of extension for the blade. Menma nodded, just as his clone released its jutsu, and knowledge of basic puppet techniques filled his head. He extended a finger, and a chakra thread that was extremely wide and easily visible shot out to the kunai and pulled it back to him with a twitch of his finger. Not bad, Yugao said. However, you'll need to refine your chakra for that as well because the threads are supposed to be too thin to see. I know, Menma sighed, holding up the kunai. He channeled his chakra into it again and again. When he threw it, it failed to go very deep into the tree. You'd better be getting back, Yugao said. Menma nodded and ran toward the trees, waving back at them. Menma leaned back and groaned. The other teams had all been picked up by their jonin. All except them. Patience, Menma, Sasuke said. He'll show up eventually. Yes, but he's so late already, Sakura said. Why? I don't get it. And you think we do? Menma asked. Maybe it's some kind of test. I doubt it, Sakura said. Well, it doesn't make a difference either way, Sasuke said. Just be patient. He'll get here when he gets here. Suddenly, the door to the room slid open and a jonin with silver hair spiked up and to the left, and his forehead protector pulled down over his left eye stepped through, looking around at them. It's about time, Menma groaned. What kept you? Shut up, Menma! Sakura snapped. Don't be so rude. I'm sorry, sensei. He's usually not like this. Menma blinked. She was right. He was starting to act like Naruto again. He looked over at Sasuke, who simply sat in silence, watching the jonin. I'm sorry, the jonin said. I got sidetracked a bit. It's alright, Menma sighed. Sorry for being rude. What are we doing first? First, we're getting out of this classroom, the jonin said. He turned, walking away, and they all followed. After a few minutes, they reached a spot overlooking most of the village, and the jonin leaned against the railing facing the steps where the others sat down. Sasuke sat in front with Sakura off to his left and a little behind him where she could stare without him seeing her, and Menma sat off to the side, watching Kakashi. Alright, why don't you introduce yourselves, one at a time, the jonin suggested. Introduce ourselves? Sakura asked. What are we supposed to say? Things you like, things you hate, the jonin offered. Dreams for the future. Hobbies. Things like that. Why don't you go first, Menma suggested. That way we see how it's supposed to work. Me? The jonin asked. I'm Kakashi Hatake. Things I like and things I hate, I don't feel like telling you that. My dreams for the future, I never really thought about it. As for my hobbies, I have lots of hobbies. That was totally useless. All he really told us was his name, Sakura muttered. Okay, your turn, Kakashi said, nodding to Menma. You on the right, you first. Alright, Menma nodded. My name is Menma Uzumaki. I's a shinobi originally from a group of survivors from the Uzumaki clan. However, when they sent me here to find Naruto Uzumaki and invite him to come back to the rest of his clan, they were attacked by rogue shinobi while I was away, resulting in all of their deaths, and ending in me entering the academy here so I could be recognized as a genin of the Hidden Leaf Village. The things I like include training, being around friends, and my hobbies are kind of the same really. Let's see, what do I dislike? Oh, that's easy. I dislike people who treat others like garbage without even getting to know them or considering how the people they pick on may feel. I dislike people who hurt my friends. And I hate seeing people be treated like a monster for something that's not their fault. As for my dreams, someday, I'm going to become Hokage so that I can earn respect, and or maybe it's not. If I did that, it's alright, Menma, Kakashi said. That's good enough. Menma nodded, suddenly unsure. Sasuke looked over at him, concerned, but keeping his face neutral. Alright, next? Kakashi asked. My name is Sakura Haruno, Sakura said proudly. What I like, I mean the person I like, is she rested her head on hers hands, looking over at Sasuke. My hobby is, she trailed off, giggling. My dream for the future is, she looked at Sasuke again, and squealed into her hands. Menma rolled his eyes inside his mask as Kakashi said, and what do you hate? Sakura opened her mouth to speak, but her voice died in her throat. She blinked in surprise before staring at the ground, looking almost sad. Being picked up by my parents, I guess, Sakura said quietly. Kakashi's visible eyebrow went up a couple of centimeters before he turned to Sasuke. Last one, Kakashi said. My name is Sasuke Uchiha, Sasuke said. A little while ago, I'd have given a speech about having someone I want to destroy. However, that's changed. I hate traitors. My hobbies are to train, and to grow strong. I like to win. As for my dream for the future, it's complicated. There's someone I have to find, in order to discuss a few of his actions with him. However, I'm not actually sure how the discussion will go. Menma stared at him for a moment before looking to Kakashi, who nodded. Very well, Kakashi nodded. We'll have our first mission tomorrow. What kind of mission? Menma asked. Assassination? Bandits? Village defenses? Not exactly, Kakashi said. It's a survival exercise. What type? Sasuke asked. Of the 27 graduates that just left the academy, only 9 will actually be accepted as genin, Kakashi said. The rest will be sent back to the academy. This is a pass-fail make-it-or-break-it test. And the chance that you'll fail is at least 66%. But wait, if we still have to pass your test to become genin, what was the graduation test for? Menma asked. Oh, that, Kakashi said. That was just to select candidates who might become genin or not. What? Sakura gasped. That's how it is, Kakashi said. I decided whether you pass or fail. Be at the designated training spot at 5 a.m. and bring your ninja gear. How will we know where the training spot is? Menma asked. It's the 3rd training ground, Kakashi said. It has the village's memorial stone there. Menma nodded. He knew the place. It was where Tenzo and Yugao trained him. Sasuke nodded as well, also seeming to know the place. Sakura looked confused. Oh, also, you should skip breakfast tomorrow, Kakashi said. Otherwise, you'll puke. And with that, he left. That sounds horrible, Sakura said. Probably, Menma nodded. I know what he's talking about. Do you too? I do, Sasuke nodded. I don't, Sakura said. Will you show me Sasuke? No, Sasuke said. I have other matters to attend to. Menma can show you. Sakura sighed but nodded. Alright then, Sakura sighed. Lead the way, Menma. Menma nodded and stood. Then, he turned, leaping along the buildings, Sakura following close behind him. After a few minutes, he landed in the training ground and Sakura landed beside him, looking away. This is where we're supposed to meet him, Menma said. Think you can find it on your own tomorrow morning? Yes, Sakura nodded. Thank you, Menma. You're welcome, Menma nodded. Now I have to get home. See you tomorrow. And with that, he left, heading home. Menma walked into the training ground at the same time as Sasuke and Sakura, all meeting up in front of the 3 wooden posts standing opposite the memorial stone. So, how late do you think he'll be? Menma asked. Hopefully not at all, Sasuke said, taking his backpack off and setting it on the ground. I agree, Sakura said, dropping her satchel. Menma nodded in agreement, taking his own pack off, then setting it beside Sasuke's and lying down, resting his back on it. What are you doing? Sasuke asked. There's no point in waiting on our feet, Menma said. It'll just make our feet sore and use more energy if he's late, and if he's on time, I'll stand up. After a moment, Sakura sat down and Sasuke sighed, following suit. I suppose that makes sense, Sasuke sighed. And so, they waited. After the first hour, the sun was above the horizon. Another hour ticked by. Then another. What's taking him so long? Sakura finally spoke up. Morning everyone, Kakashi said. Ready for your first day? Hey, you're late. Sakura shouted, pointing at him accusingly. Well, a black cat crossed my path so I had to take the long way. Kakashi smiled behind his mask, pointing back over his shoulder. Well, let's get started. He walked over to the posts and set a timer on the middle one. Here we go, Kakashi said, pressing the switch at the top, then holding up a pair of bells. It's set for noon. Your assignment is simple. You just have to take these bells from me. That's all there is to it. If you can't get them by noon, you go without lunch. You'll be tied to those posts, and you'll watch as I eat my lunch in front of you. Menma narrowed his eyes. That was the reason for not eating. Wait a minute, there's 3 of us, how come there are only 2 bells? Sakura asked. Well, that way, at least one of you ends up tied to a post and is ultimately disqualified for failing to complete the mission, Kakashi said, smiling. That one goes back to the academy. They all stared at him. He had said it so kindly and nonchalantly, as though it was some unimportant detail. Of course, all 3 of you can flunk out too, Kakashi reminded them. You can use any weapon, including shuriken. If you're not prepared to kill me, you won't be able to take the bells. Those weapons are way too dangerous, sensei, Sakura gasped. Try to remember you're speaking to a jonin, Menma said. If he couldn't handle 3 kids straight out of the academy with a few pointy stars, he'd be dead by now. However, I will agree that the weapons are dangerous. If we're not careful, we could seriously hurt ourselves. What the hell does that mean? Sakura demanded. I've been a ninja longer than you, even if I am young, Menma said. I've been wounded by kunai before. I'd rather not repeat that experience. Then just be careful with your knives. Sakura snapped. That's not what I meant, Menma said. Since we're fighting a jonin, we'll have to try and work together. Then we can worry about who doesn't get a bell later. So, while we do this, be careful not to hit each other with your weapons. We're not as experienced at combat as Kakashi-sensei, so it's more likely that one of us will be hurt during this. I doubt we'll even manage to take the bells at all by force. Agreed, Sasuke nodded. Don't hit each other. Simple enough. You want to lead, Menma? After you, Sasuke, Menma grinned. You're the better fighter, Sasuke said. I'll go, Sakura offered. They both turned to look at her, then at each other. Ready, Kakashi said. Start. Instantly, Sakura charged at him, jumping and punching at him. He leaned out of the way, allowing her to pass him before reaching out to grab her ankle. Just before he reached her, he crouched, Sasuke's foot flashing over his head. Menma hurled several shuriken at Kakashi, but his hand on that side flashed up, fingers slipping into the holes in the middle, catching them. Then, he spun, punching at Sasuke with that hand, forcing Sasuke to leap back. Menma sprinted forward, jumping and kicking at Kakashi. Kakashi blocked it, and Naruto flipped, kicking downward at Kakashi. Kakashi caught the kick and spun, hurling Menma away before reaching into his ninja tool pouch as Sakura and Sasuke charged. Both skidded to a stop, waiting to see what weapon he would draw. Kakashi had already dropped the shuriken to the ground, and now he pulled a book out of his pouch. All three genin stared at him. Why, you're going to read a book while we fight you? Menma snorted. Why not? Kakashi asked. With your weak attacks, it won't matter if I'm reading or not. Sasuke charged at Kakashi and he caught Sasuke's first strike, spinning and hurling him into Sakura, both of them crashing to the ground. Menma charged at Kakashi again, punching at him. Kakashi caught the punch and Menma spun, kicking at him. Kakashi dropped to a crouch and Menma flipped, kicking at him. Kakashi swatted Naruto's foot away with his book before jumping and kicking at him. Menma managed to spin, forcing himself to the ground and under the kick, then leapt at Kakashi, punching at him. However, before he could reach him, Kakashi vanished. Menma stopped, looking around. Kakashi was simply gone. Menma, look out! Sakura suddenly shouted. He looked back to see Kakashi behind him, fingers clasped over his book and the tiger hand seal. Too late, Kakashi said, driving his hands forward. Konoha's secret technique, 1,000 years of death. Kakashi's fingers found their mark in Menma's rear and Menma shouted in pain, leaping away from Kakashi, launching himself into the river nearby. Now then, where was I? Kakashi said to himself, opening his book back up. What kind of cheap move was that? Sasuke demanded, turning to face Kakashi. What, the 1,000 years of death? Kakashi asked. Quite effective, wasn't it? Sasuke growled in annoyance, sprinting forward, leaping and kicking at Kakashi. Kakashi blocked it with his book and Sasuke caught the front of his flak, spinning himself around Kakashi, getting Kakashi moving before landing on his feet and hurling Kakashi at Sakura. Sakura grinned, stepping forward and punching at him. However, before she could hit him, he flipped, using the book to knock her fist aside, then grabbed her by the back of the dress, flipping and hurling her into the air. As she fell, Menma dragged himself out of the water. Hey, Kakashi! Menma shouted. We're not finished yet. Kakashi turned to face Menma just in time for Sasuke to kick off of his shoulder and catch Sakura, landing behind Kakashi and sprinting away from him. You made me drop my guard to save Sakura, Kakashi noted. Very good. That was pretty quick thinking. Thank you, Menma grinned. Now try this one. Suddenly, a dozen shadow clones burst out of the water, all of them hurling 10 shuriken each. Kakashi smirked behind his mask and hurled his book into the air before drawing a pair of kunai, knocking the shuriken out of the air. A moment later, the clones all landed on the surface of the water and sprinted forward, Menma joining them. Where on earth did he learn that? Kakashi wondered. Suddenly, another Menma grabbed Kakashi from behind, reaching for the bells as the clones leapt forward to attack Kakashi. At the last second, Kakashi reached over his shoulder, grabbing the Menma on his back and using him as a shield at the same time as taking the bells back from him. Then, he disappeared as the Menma he had shielded himself with exploded into smoke. Damn, Menma growled. So close. He sighed and looked to the side, a flash of silver catching his eye. He stared at the bell on the ground, then grinned behind his mask. No fucking shit, Menma grinned. What luck? A bell, lying on the ground below a tree. That's not suspicious at all. He grinned and looked around. Then, he held out a hand. A chakra thread shot out of his finger to the bell and he tugged, the bell flying into his palm as the chakra thread faded. Then, a twitch-up snare shot up from just in front of the bell and Menma grinned, turning and walking away from the tree. Sakura and Sasuke jogged over as he did, and he tossed the bell to Sakura. Why me? Sakura asked. Because me and Sasuke have the best chance of taking it by force, Menma said. So we'll get the other, then decide which of the two of us gets it. Sasuke nodded and Sakura did as well. Menma took Sakura's hand and placed a small storage seal on her palm, then set the bell on it and sealed it. Sakura nodded and the three of them spread out to look for Kakashi. As they did, Menma slipped into a thick bush, sending a clone out ahead before turning and silently making his way through the trees after the others. After a few minutes, he found Sasuke, tailing him silently. Before long, however, Sakura screamed. Menma swore, readying himself to go to her rescue, but stopped. If he had already gotten to Sakura and put her out of commission one way or the other, he'd be after Sasuke. But then again, he couldn't exactly leave Sakura. He growled in annoyance, knowing it was a trap, but all the same he took off at a run, heading after Sakura. After a few minutes, he dropped into a clearing where Sakura was on her knees, hugging herself and sobbing. He looked around carefully for Kakashi, then sprinted forward to Sakura. He shook her shoulder but she didn't react. Genjutsu. He remembered Itachi teaching him to break it and made the seal of confrontation, channeling his chakra into her, breaking the jutsu. Wa Menma? Sakura breathed. It was a genjutsu? Yes, Menma nodded. Let me see the seal. She held her hand up but the seal was empty. Shit, Menma sighed. He got it. Alright. He'll be going after Sasuke next. Let's go. Sakura nodded and followed Menma as he sprinted through the trees, heading straight to the clearing where he had left Sasuke. Just as they arrived, Sasuke exhaled a massive fireball at Kakashi. Menma and Sakura sprinted forward but stopped a short distance away. Well, he did say go all out, Menma sighed. Just then, a pair of hands burst out of the ground, grabbing Sasuke's ankles then dragging him downward until he was buried up to his neck. Kakashi rose out of the ground behind him and Menma began to make hand seals. Hold your breath, Sasuke, Menma said. Menma inhaled, pulling his mask off to the side just enough to use the jutsu, but not enough to blow his cover as Kakashi turned toward him. He moved to jump away just as chakra threads attached themselves to his wrists and ankles, holding him in place. Then Menma exhaled, a stream of high-pressured water blasting out of his mouth. It crashed into Kakashi, blasting him away before losing power and hitting Sasuke in the face, weakening the ground around Sasuke as well. Then, Menma slid his mask back into place and ran over to Sasuke, pulling him out of the ground. You used a water-style jutsu to get me away from Sasuke at the same time as making rescuing him easier, Kakashi said. I would love to know who trained you. They were very skilled. Menma smirked, nodding. I agree, Menma nodded. He would most likely be honored to hear you say that. Kakashi smiled before disappearing. Alright, Menma said. Let's go find our sensei again. We're running out of time and are once again bell-free. Sasuke nodded and they turned, sprinting back to the main training ground. Just as they stepped out of the trees, the timer went off and Kakashi, who was standing beside it, shut it off. Time's up, Kakashi said. And I have both of my bells again. So, it looks like you all fail. Darn, Menma sighed. We were close. You were, Kakashi agreed. Tell you what. Because you came so close, I'll give you an extension. You can try again after lunch. However, the one among you who did the worst is not going to eat. Menma smiled behind his mask and nodded. Sakura, Kakashi said. Please come stand against this pole. Wabara, Sakura groaned, walking over and standing against the pole. Kakashi tied her to it then turned to the other two. I'm impressed by your teamwork, you two, Kakashi said. Keep it up, and you may just get those bells after all. Kakashi walked past them, stopping in front of the memorial stone. The names of my best friends are engraved on this stone, Kakashi said. They're the names of heroes who died during the Great Shinobi Wars, right? Menma asked. Yes, Kakashi nodded. And from the Ninetales attack on the leaf. All right. I'm going to get some lunch for myself. You two had better eat quickly. However, if either of you feeds Sakura, the one who does, immediately fails. And then he and Sakura will not be heading to the academy. They will be removed from the program. You will be unwelcome as Leaf Village Shinobi, and you will never be allowed to try again. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Menma nodded. Completely, Sasuke said. Absolutely, Sakura agreed. They eat, I don't. Understood. All right then, Kakashi said. I'll be back in an hour. And with that, he left with the body flicker technique. Menma opened his lunch, pulling his mask off to the side enough to get food into his mouth and eating about a quarter quickly as Sasuke ate slowly, then stood, turning to face Sakura. Are you sure? Sasuke asked. We need to be able to fight as a team, and she's no good to us if she's falling over from hunger, Menma said. Here. Eat. He held out a clump of rice with his chopsticks and Sakura reached out, eating it. However, the moment she did, a massive explosion launched the food out of Menma's hands as smoke shot into the air in front of Sakura. Menma turned, holding up a hand as it suddenly cleared and Kakashi glared at him. You! Kakashi seethed. You broke the rules. I hope you're ready for the consequences. He made several hand seals and the sky above them grew dark with storm clouds, lightning flashing through them. Menma's eyes widened. That was some jutsu he was cooking up. Any last words? Kakashi asked. Menma gulped. He couldn't take Kakashi alone. Maybe not even with Sasuke. But he was not dying without putting up a fight. Not again. Yeah, Menma said. You can make all the rules you want, and you can threaten me with anything. But like I said before, I care about my friends. So no matter what may happen to me, I'll never abandon them. Whether they're being held by the enemy or tied to a post and refused lunch, I'm going to help them. It's just who I am. So if you want to kick me out and stop me being a ninja, then fine. Go ahead. But don't punish them. I broke the rules. Punish me? What? Sakura gasped. No. You can't punish him. I'm the one that got myself tied to the pole. It's my fault. Punish me? It's my fault, Sasuke said. I could have stopped him and I chose not to. Therefore the punishment is mine to bear. Really? Kakashi asked. You all want to be punished together for Menma's transgression? They all nodded. Good, Kakashi snarled before smiling as the clouds began to part. You pass. Excuse me? Menma blinked. You pass, Kakashi said slowly. You're the first group to succeed. But wait, how'd we pass? Sakura asked. The other teams all did exactly what I said, and fell into every trap, Kakashi said. They couldn't think for themselves. A ninja must see through deception. In the ninja world, those who break the rules are scum, that's true. But those who abandon their friends are worse than scum. Menma grinned behind his mask. He was starting to like Kakashi. He could see by the others' faces that they did too. The exercise is over, Kakashi declared. Everyone passes. Squad 7 starts its first mission tomorrow. Menma grinned, drawing a kunai and cutting Sakura free. She sighed in relief, stretching her muscles, and Menma put his kunai away. Alright, Kakashi said. Let's go get something halfway decent for lunch, HM? Menma grinned and they all left the training ground, heading into town to eat. Menma stepped into the Hokage's office with the rest of his team, and Hiruzen smiled at him. Welcome, Hiruzen greeted. Congratulations on passing the exam. That's actually very impressive. However, I'm afraid that your original C-class mission must be put on hold. Why? Kakashi asked. It would seem that a certain group of rogue shinobi is currently ransacking Yuzushiogakure, Hiruzen said. Menma tensed. That was the name of the Uzumaki clan's village, if memory served. Is it the group that wiped out my family? Menma asked. Most likely, Hiruzen nodded. We don't know what they're after, but they seem determined to find it. Our ANBU reported there were 12. That's not a lot of information, Kakashi said. Do we know anything about them? A little, Hiruzen nodded. Show yourself. 2 ANBU stepped out of the shadows to the group's left and knelt. Menma looked and his eyes widened. Tenzo and Yugao, tell them what you told me, Hiruzen said. 3 days ago, the hidden leaf sensed a strange chakra in Yuzushiogakure, Yugao said. We were sent to investigate, and when we arrived, we found the rogue shinobi attempting to break through a barrier around the village's main temple's ruins. They were unsuccessful, but they didn't look to be giving up any time soon. And you want us to go? Kakashi asked. No, Hiruzen said. I don't. But I suspect Menma may be able to get through the barrier, and we need to investigate the source of the chakra. So I'm sending you along with Team 8. Team 8? Kakashi asked. I see. Very well. When do we leave? Immediately, Hiruzen said. Team 8 will meet you at the gate. And Kakashi, just so you're aware, this mission is labeled as A rank. However, we don't know the strength of the rogue shinobi. To be able to take down a group of Uzumaki, they would need to be strong. Be ready for a nasty fight. Even if you have to flee, your top priority is getting Menma to the barrier so that he can go inside, if I'm correct. Menma, if you cannot get through, retreat. Understood, Menma nodded. Hiruzen nodded and waved his hand, dismissing them. Menma's team left and Menma closed the door, Yugo placing a silencing seal for him. Menma pulled his mask off and turned to Hiruzen. Alright, now what's actually going on? Naruto asked. The rogue shinobi are actually trying to breach a barrier around Yuzushiogakures temple, Hiruzen said. However, the rogue shinobi are chunin at best. Somewhere in the temple, something, or someone, erected the barrier when our ANBU reached the temple to keep them out. The ANBU sent a message about it, and I sent these two to investigate. When we arrived, there were rogue shinobi attempting to breach the barrier and no sign of the ANBU, Tenzo said. Either the rogue shinobi took them down, or whatever created the barrier did. Either way, you'll need to be careful. While the shinobi don't seem strong, they could be either hiding their power, or there could be something else in that village. Naruto nodded and pulled his mask back on. On the plus side, maybe while I'm there I can learn all kinds of new jutsu from my village, Menma grinned. Gotta go. Yugao undid her seal and Menma left, catching up to the others outside. What was that about? Sakura asked. Lord Hokage wanted to speak with me about what I'm going to do in the temple, Menma said. Alright everyone, Kakashi said. Let's go meet up with the others and get going. They all nodded and headed to the gate, finding Team 8 waiting. Shino was standing off to the side, silent as always, and Kurenai was looking impatient as she had her arms crossed and was tapping her foot. Menma, however, had his attention drawn by something else. Kiba was standing off to the side with Hinata. Judging from their expressions, it wasn't your typical friendly chat. Hey Hinata, Menma smiled, landing beside her. She smiled at him happily. Told you I'd be around, Menma smiled. Hello Kiba. Hey Menma, Kiba said, halfway dismissing him, halfway disgruntled that he had cut in on their conversation. Anyway, Hinata, I get that you miss Naruto, and I get that you want to believe he's still around, but I just think it's a bad idea to keep this idea that his ghost is protecting you in your head. Ghosts aren't real. And Naruto would have gone to heaven by now. Or maybe, don't say that. Hinata snapped. Naruto would never. Naruto is closer than you think, Kiba, Menma said. And what's wrong with her being in love with someone who's not around anymore? Nothing, Kiba said. Nothing. I understand that. It's just, time to go you three. Kakashi called out. We're coming. Menma responded. Look, just drop it, alright? You don't know for sure if Naruto's gone or still here, so you have no right to tell Hinata he's gone. Kiba stared at him for a moment before sighing and nodding. Alright, Kiba sighed. Fine. Let's just go. Menma nodded and the three of them ran after the others, catching up after a minute. Menma fell behind, taking up the rear. As they ran, Kiba kept glancing at Hinata. Menma tried to ignore it the same way he was trying not to stare, but both were increasingly difficult as they traveled. After a few hours, they stopped for a lunch break and Menma decided to do something he probably shouldn't, and created a clone who hid in the trees above them when they stopped. Menma sat down with his team, allowing Kiba to think he and Hinata had some privacy. In reality, Menma's clone was in the tree above them to listen in. Hinata, listen, about what I said earlier, Kiba began. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude, and I shouldn't have told you Naruto might go to hell. I was wrong. It's alright, Hinata said. You were just trying to help me. I would always help you, Hinata, Kiba said. Anything you need, you can just ask me. I mean it. Anything. Thank you, Kiba, Hinata said, hugging him. He hugged her back, smiling. However, as Menma's clone watched, Kiba held on to Hinata for a bit longer than was necessary. Even when Hinata tried to pull away. Finally, she managed to extract herself from his arms, and he smiled sheepishly. Sorry, Kiba said, scratching the back of his head. Dogs are really affectionate. Menma's clone rolled his eyes. God, Kiba was laying it on thick. And Menma did not like it. It's alright, Hinata said. Hey, Hinata? Kiba said after a minute. Yeah? Hinata asked, finishing her lunch and putting the garbage in her backpack. I was wondering, when we get back, do you want to get something to eat? Kiba asked. Well, I am human, so of course I'm going to need to eat eventually, Hinata said, respectfully dodging his question. Well, yes, Kiba nodded, missing the fact that she was too nice to just turn him down. But I meant, do you want to go get something to eat with me? As a date. Oh, Hinata said. Sorry, Kiba. I promised my little sister I'd help her learn to cook when I got back. Well, after that then, Kiba said. Hinata trailed off, trying to think of an excuse to not. Menma's clone released its jutsu and Menma's eyes widened as the memories reached him. He looked to Sasuke, who looked over at them, then smirked back at Menma. Hey Kakashi-sensei, Sasuke said. Can we get moving? I'm getting impatient. I want to get this over with. Me and Sakura have a date when we get back. Sakura began to choke on her rice ball instantly, and Kakashi raised an eyebrow before nodding. Alright, Kakashi nodded. Time to go, everyone. Menma packed his things up as Hinata and Kiba walked over. Well, just think about it, alright? Kiba asked. Okay, Hinata nodded. Menma swallowed hard, forcing his annoyance down and pulling his backpack on. He stared at the ground. Why was he so mad? It's not like Hinata cared about him as Menma any more than Kiba. She loved Naruto. And that wasn't going to change at all. What was that about? Menma asked as Hinata reached him. He wants to go on a date with me, Hinata said. Oh? Menma asked. Is that bad? Well, it's just what if he's right? Hinata asked. What if Naruto is gone? Don't think like that, Menma said. I thought you could feel him with you. I can sometimes, Hinata nodded. But even if he's gone. They were on the move again by now, Hinata and Menma having fallen back a bit from the others. Kiba was constantly glancing back at them, less than pleased that Menma was alone with Hinata. So, what are you going to do? Menma asked. I don't know, Hinata sighed. I don't want to move on. But Naruto's not coming back. He can't. No one can return from the dead. And Kiba's sweet. And he cares about me. But I don't know if I actually like him or not. What should I do? I think you should do whatever would make you happiest, Menma said. But maybe you should try talking to Naruto. See if you can get him to tell you what he wants. I have, Hinata said. I've tried to talk to him every night. But he never talks back. And it's not the first time Kiba's asked me on a date. I see, Menma said. Well, maybe you should try one last time tonight. If he responds, ask him what you should do. If he doesn't, then follow your heart. Hinata nodded, looking doubtful. Can I tell you a secret? Menma asked. Sure, Hinata said. The real reason we're going to Yuzushiobikure is because Lord Hokage thinks that there might be someone inside the temple, Menma said. The barrier wasn't there until after the rogue shinobi arrived. But there's no way anyone's been living in Yuzushiobikure. Lord Hokage believes that this may be some kind of spirit. If he's right, that would mean that something about Yuzushiobikure makes spirits stronger, maybe make them able to manifest more easily in our world. Really? Hinata gasped, staring at him. So then Naruto might. We might need to be a little closer than right now, but yeah, Menma said. Naruto might actually be able to manifest himself. Hinata stared at him, wide-eyed, then smiled. I hope so, Hinata said. There are so many things I want to say to him, Menma smiled. Then, he looked to Kiba, who narrowed his eyes at him before turning away. They traveled in silence for a while, only stopping again when the sun was below the horizon. They set up camp and Menma volunteered for first watch. The others all went to bed and Menma spread a dozen clones throughout the trees to keep watch before he took up his post to wait for Hinata. Finally, sometime around midnight she silently left her tent, heading into the trees. Menma followed, finding her in a clearing with a million flowers in it. She was on her knees, head bowed and eyes closed, clasping her hands in front of herself as she spoke. Naruto, Hinata said. If you're there, please talk to me. I don't know what to do. I miss you. I miss you so much. I never got to tell you the truth. Please. Menma silently stopped behind her, taking his mask off and setting it aside, then used a transformation jutsu to change his clothes back to his orange jumpsuit. Then he stepped out. Hinata, he said. She spun, staring at him in shock and awe. Then she stood, legs trembling, and beginning forward. He frowned, seeing the tears in her eyes. I'm sorry, Hinata, Naruto said. I never meant to hurt you. She stopped in front of him and reached out, wanting to touch him, to see if he was solid, but afraid, as though doing so might make him disappear. He reached up, taking her hand and putting it on his cheek. She smiled, tears flooding down her face before stepping forward, hugging him and sobbing into his chest. It's alright, Hinata, Naruto smiled. I'm here. I'm still here. You never answered, Hinata sobbed. I'm sorry, Naruto said. I tried, but it was hard for me. It's a long way from the spirit world to here, he winced. He hated lying to her. He wanted to tell her the truth. But he couldn't. Have you been watching? Hinata asked. Of course I have, Naruto smiled. I'm so sorry for putting you through so much pain. It's alright, Hinata smiled. But what should I do about Kiba? I can't tell you that, Hinata, Naruto said. I can't make your decision for you, but I don't know what to do, Hinata said. I know, Naruto said. You're so kind and sweet. You don't want to hurt Kiba, you don't want to hurt anyone. Whatever choice you make, I'll agree with, no matter what. Hinata asked. Yes, Naruto nodded. I'll wait for you forever, if I have to. I'll wait for you to join me on the other side. Although, you better not do it anytime soon. And if you decide to be with Kiba, then I'll watch over you, and make sure the two of you are happy. Wait, you mean, we can be together after death? Hinata asked. Yes, Naruto nodded. But you can't join me yet. If you take your own life, you'll go to hell. And you have to give it your all to be the best you can in the meantime. But then I can be with you? Hinata asked. Yes, Naruto nodded. If you do, you and I can be together in the afterlife. Hinata smiled, tears rolling down her cheeks again. Okay, Hinata smiled. Alright, Naruto said. But you know, Menma cares about you too. He does? Hinata asked. Yes, Naruto nodded. Very much. Hinata's face betrayed her guilt and sadness. Hey, Naruto smiled. Don't be like that. Things will be fine. You'll see. Hinata smiled and nodded, before blushing a bit and staring at the ground. What is it? Naruto asked. I never got to tell you, Hinata trailed off. You can do it now, if you want, Naruto smiled. Hinata looked at him, unsure, then smiled and nodded. And Naruto, I've always been afraid and nervous. But when I saw you, you were always so brave and determined. And no matter how anyone treated you, you always tried your hardest. And whenever I was bullied, you were always there to stand up for me, even though you got beat up for it. I never got the chance to thank you before. And I was never able to tell you the truth. I was always too afraid of you rejecting me, and too worried that you loved Sakura instead. But I love you, Naruto. I love you with all my heart. And I'll wait as long as I have to in order to be with you again. Naruto smiled, his body going numb as warmth spread through him. How had he never noticed Hinata before? And Naruto? Hinata asked. Yeah? Naruto smiled. See, can I kiss you? Hinata asked, face bright red. Naruto paused. He wanted to kiss her. But he also wanted to be with her as Menma, not just have her waiting for what she thought was a ghost until they died. Maybe he could tell her the truth. Sasuke already knew who he was. What harm would it do if Hinata knew too? He pushed the thought aside. He couldn't tell her. Not yet. Maybe someday, but for now, he had to stay dead. Of course, Naruto smiled finally. Hinata smiled, swallowing hard and slowly leaning toward him. He leaned in as well, meeting her halfway. The moment their lips met, his head went completely light. Hinata sighed, arms wrapping around his neck as his went around her back. Naruto felt Hinata pouring every ounce of love she had for him into it, so he did the same. The kiss lasted for what felt like hours. Finally, they pulled away to breathe and Hinata giggled upon seeing he was breathing as hard as she was. What's so funny? He asked. I didn't know ghosts needed to breathe, Hinata smiled. It's more habit than anything, Naruto smiled, leaning forward and kissing her again, more gently this time. She kissed him back happily. After a couple of minutes, he finally pulled away. Reaching up and removing her arms from around his neck, kissing her palms. I have to go now, he said. It might be a while before I can talk to you again. It's alright, Hinata smiled. I'll wait as long as I have to. Naruto smiled and kissed her again. She closed her eyes, kissing him back. Then, before she had the chance to open her eyes again, he used the body flicker technique to get back to his mask, releasing the transformation jutsu on his clothes and pulling his mask on. Then, he walked out of the trees. What are you doing out here? Menma asked. I was talking to Naruto. Hinata smiled, tears in her eyes again. How'd it go? Menma asked, smiling behind his mask. Better than I ever dreamed, Hinata smiled. He was so real. I could actually touch him. It was like he was alive again. I got to tell him how I feel and I even got to kiss him. She blushed and Menma's smile widened. That's great, he smiled. Did you ask him for advice? Yes, Hinata nodded. He said that he's waiting for me on the other side. And that he'll support me and watch over me no matter what I decide, but that he can't make the choice for me. And he also told me that you have feelings for me as well. I see, Menma said. Sounds like he's got a bit of a big mouth. Yes, Hinata laughed. Why didn't you say anything? Because I knew that you were still in love with Naruto, Menma said. I knew that no matter what I did, I could never compare to him for you. So I didn't try. I spent my time trying to help you cheer up. And I spent my time trying to find a way to reunite you with him. What? Hinata asked. While it's true that our loved ones watch over us, it's rare that they actually find a way to manifest themselves, Menma said. I've been searching every scroll I can get my hands on for a way to bring the dead back to life, or to at the very least allow someone to talk to the spirits of their dead loved ones. I haven't found anything. But it seems that something about Yuzushiogakure made that pointless. He said we wouldn't be able to see each other for a while after this, Hinata said. Maybe it is extremely difficult to cross over to see you, Menma suggested. Maybe he needs to rest so he can do it again. Hinata nodded before walking over, hugging him. He hugged her back and she tightened her grip. Thank you, she smiled. Thank you for everything you've been doing. And thank you for convincing me to try again. You were right. I'm going to wait for Naruto. I'm sorry. It's all right, Menma smiled as she pulled back. I already knew that. But Hinata, we have to consider the face that, once that barrier falls in Yuzushiogakure, and once we find out what is going on there may not be any way for you to see Naruto again. I know, Hinata said. But that's all right. I can still wait. Menma nodded and turned to walk away. We better get back before anyone notices we're gone, Menma said. They might get the wrong idea. Hinata blushed but nodded and they made their way back to camp, arriving to find Sasuke sitting beside the fire pit, glowing coals slowly warming 2 cups of instant ramen. Hinata blushed again as he grinned at the two of them, but went into her tent, closing it. Menma sat beside Sasuke and slipped his mask off, grinning. So, what did I miss? Sasuke asked. She got to talk to Naruto again, straight from the spirit world, Menma grinned. Risky business summoning spirits, Sasuke said. But worth it, Menma said, pulling it back on. She finally got to tell him how she felt, and even got to kiss him. A grin split Sasuke's face instantly, and Menma pushed him lightly. Good for her, Sasuke chuckled. It's about time. So, what's going to happen now? Now she's going to wait for him, Menma said. So for now, we focus on the mission. Sasuke nodded, handing Menma the ramen cup, then picking up the second and beginning to eat. Menma pulled the mask off to the side, eating his ramen. I'll take watch from here, Sasuke said. You rest up. You'll need your strength if whatever's in that temple decides it wants a fight. Menma nodded, finishing his ramen then heading to bed. Menma stared at the rogue ninja. They were all standing in a group, firing jutsu after jutsu at the barrier. But the barrier blocked everything. The barrier was a massive dome made out of ceiling script every few hundred meters, reaching up from a seal circle on the ground. The barrier stretched about 300 feet in the air and about 1,000 feet across. In the middle was a ruined temple that actually looked pretty intact compared to the ruins of the rest of the village. Every time a jutsu hit the barrier, it sent ripples across the barrier, seemingly in midair, similar to a stone hitting the water. Then, the ripples faded and the barrier was back to normal. That's some barrier, Kakashi said. Those are some pretty high-level jutsu they're hitting it with. I agree, Menma nodded. Let's put a stop to it. Kakashi nodded and they all spread out around the rogue ninja, closing in slowly. Then, when they were all ready, they stepped out of cover. The rogue shinobi all turned toward them and began to laugh, drawing an assortment of weapons. Only 2 jonin? One of them laughed. That's it. That's so insulting. And a bunch of kids, another added. Genin, I bet. How pathetic. Why are you trying to get into the temple? Menma asked. Because, another laughed. There's treasure in there. And our master said, shut up. The first snapped. Yes, boss, the third said. Master? Kakashi asked. And who might that be? None of your business, the leader snarled. You're all going to die here. Tech Jet, handle the jonin. I'll take the kid with the mask. The rest of you, kill the men. The chicks are yours to enjoy as you want. Including the jonin if you can make her behave. You really think you can just openly state that you're going to rape my friends and get away with it? Menma snarled. Yeah, the leader chuckled, spinning his poleaxe. I do. What are you gonna do about it? Menma created a dozen clones who all drew a pair of kunai each and charged at the leader. The leader laughed, crouching and readying himself. However, before they could reach him, Menma appeared beside him, slamming his hand into the man's side. A paralysis seal spread outward from his palm, covering the man and keeping him immobile. The clones instantly charged the others. I'll be back for you, Menma hissed in the man's ear. Don't worry. Your death will hurt. 2 of the rogue ninja, one armed with a sword shaped like a blade off a windmill shuriken, and the other with a pair of swords with blades shaped like giant kunai blades, destroyed the clones after them instantly and charged at Kakashi and Kurenai. Jet and Tech. The rest of the clones lasted a little longer before being destroyed. Well, looks like the kid's not too strong after all, one of the others, this one armed with a tomahawk in each hand, snickered. Alright. Let's go. Menma drew a pair of kunai, crouching and readying himself. Suddenly, the largest of the rogue shinobi, a man with a square jaw and a body made out of 90% muscle, was in the air over Naruto. Before he could crush Naruto with one of his massive fists, Sasuke leapt into the air, kicking the man backward into the barrier, the man hitting it like a wall and sliding to the ground. Thanks, Menma grinned. Sasuke nodded as the rest of the shinobi sprinted past. Sasuke moved to fight the behemoth he had already kicked and Naruto turned, finding 2 sprinting at him. One was wielding a katana and the other held only a pair of kunai. Menma grinned, flipping over the sword and spun, slashing at the swordsman. The other shinobi blocked it and Menma flipped, kicking the man in the top of the head, slamming him into the ground. Then, Menma spun, blocking the sword and slashing at the shinobi. The shinobi caught his arm and swung him into the air. As he did, the other shinobi stood and Menma flipped, planting his feet in the swordsman's back, shoving him into the other. Both fell to the ground then pushed themselves up as Menma readied himself. Fire style, giant fireball jutsu. The shinobi with the kunai snarled before exhaling the fireball. Naruto leapt over the fireball and spun, looking at them just as the swordsman grinned. Wind style, pressure damage. The shinobi shouted, firing a massive blast of compressed wind straight up into Menma. It exploded and launched him into the air. As he fell, he flipped, beginning to make hand seals. My turn, Menma snarled before pulling his mask to the side. Wind style, great breakthrough. He fired a blast of his own wind chakra at the pair, blasting them and forming a crater, also cushioning his landing. As he landed, the swordsman stood, sprinting at him, sword raised. Menma spun, sweeping the sword aside with his kunai, then split the man up the front with the other. The man staggered a few steps before collapsing. As he did, Menma noticed something. The man had a mask with a hood on the back of his flak. Menma cut it off, inspecting it. The mask was just a plain white mask with no features, but it would be a decent backup since it had a hood. He put it in his backpack then spun, ducking under the other ninja's kunai before slashing him too, dropping him. Just then, Hinata screamed. Menma spun seeing Hinata holding a gash in her side as the shinobi she was fighting, a man wielding a kusarigama, stalked forward. Menma felt his rage boil over and sprinted forward. The sickle began to descend. Menma pushed himself faster. Then, he skidded to a stop in front of Hinata, channeling his chakra through his kunai and raising it. The sickle smashed on the kunai and Menma push-kicked the shinobi, launching him backward into the one fighting Sakura. Both crashed to the ground and then stood, staring at Menma. Menma raised his kunai, both of which had chakra streaming along them perfectly. Amazing how rage and desperation can help someone get their chakra moving perfectly. That's the flying sparrow technique? Shino gaped, his opponent on the ground behind him, insects swarming all over his body. Who are you? The shinobi that had been attacking Hinata demanded, unclipping the sickle and throwing it away, pulling out a new one and clipping it on. My name is Menma Uzumaki, Menma snarled. And you're all going to die here. The shinobi snorted in amusement, standing and taking a step forward just before Menma's kunai drilled through him, stabbing into the ground just inside the barrier. Menma sprinted forward as the shinobi fell. He put his other kunai away and grabbed the kusarigama, channeling his chakra through it before throwing the sickle and spinning, the chain dragging it in a circle after Naruto, slashing the ninja that had been fighting Sakura before. Menma stopped, the chain spinning around his neck as the shinobi fighting Sasuke and Kiba both charged at him. Menma threw the sickle in the other direction, the chain unwinding and slashing Sasuke's opponent before Menma grabbed the chain, spinning the sickle in a vertical circle, the blade driving itself down into Kiba's opponent's head. Then Menma yanked the chain and the blade tore its way out through his face. Menma spun again, hurling the weight at Kurenai's opponent, the chain wrapping around the shinobi's throat before Menma hurled the sickle at Kakashi's opponent. The ninja smashed the sickle aside, the blade sticking into a boulder instead, and Menma attached several chakra threads, hurling the stone away from Kurenai's opponent, tightening the chain so fast that the shinobi's head flew into the sky. Kakashi's opponent, the one with the windmill shuriken blade for a sword, appeared in front of Menma, slashing at him in an uppercut. Menma leaned backward, the sword splitting his mask in half. He instantly grabbed the one he had taken from his first opponent, and pulled it on just as the first fell off. Then, he flipped, kicking the ninja in the side and smashing him into the ground. Then, he punched him in the back. Just as he did, however, his palm exploded into pain. He staggered back, looking at his hands to see he suddenly had claws. Is that it? The ninja laughed, standing as the leader walked over to stand beside him. I barely felt a thing there, Menma snarled, surprised at how feral his voice sounded. His teeth felt odd as well. Suddenly, he instinctively dropped to all fours, fiery red chakra exploding up around him. Everyone stared in shock before Menma appeared in front of him, driving his claws through the man's eyes, killing him. The leader smashed the base of the poleaxe's shaft into Menma, throwing him away. Menma flipped, landing on his hands and feet and growling. The leader chuckled, spinning his axe then swinging it, sending out a massive wave of wind churka. The chakra hit Menma but he ignored it, sprinting forward. What? The leader gaped, staggering backward then composing himself. Die! He stabbed at Menma with the spearhead on the tip of his axe but Menma leapt over it, smashing his fist into the man's face as he passed, knocking him flat onto his back. Then, he landed, skidding to a stop and glancing at Hinata, seeing fear in every feature of her face. He froze. He slowly looked around the battlefield, staring at all of the corpses he had left in his wake. At the blood and gore he had spread. His fingers burned as his claws sank back into his hands, and the leader jumped to his feet, slashing at him. Menma, look out! Hinata shrieked, seeing that Menma was distracted. At the last second, Kakashi appeared beside the leader, catching the poleaxe, then slamming his fist into the ninja's abdomen, knocking him out. He tied him up, then looked at Menma suspiciously. "Are you alright?" he asked. Menma trailed off, looking to Hinata again, seeing worry this time. "Well, at least no one was hurt very seriously," Kakashi said. "Hinata only got scratched. You go ahead inside. I'll clean up out here." Menma nodded slowly, then turned, walking to the barrier. He reached his left hand out, resting it against the barrier, and suddenly, the seal script from all over the barrier raced around the barrier, transferring itself to Naruto's arm. When it was done, the barrier was gone. He flexed his hand, staring at the seal script on it, then retrieved his kunai and headed inside. Inside, the temple was in excellent shape, aside from a few holes here and there and some debris on the floors. The walls were lined with scrolls, and the left side had rows upon rows of bookshelves with even more scrolls. On the right were rows upon rows of weapon racks. And there, at the back of the temple, was a pedestal with a sword sticking out of it. The sword had a red grip, a gold pommel with a ruby embedded into it, and no actual guard. The blade looked to be a double-edged Western-style blade, or like that of a jian, except that it widened where there should be a guard. Between the blade and the grip was a gold section with a teardrop-shaped hole just below the base of the blade, and a strip of gold that reached partway out into the blade before ending at a point about level with the ground. Naruto stared at the sword. He liked it. A lot. He walked over, seeing that the ruby was carved into the Uzumaki clan symbol, and reached out to it but froze as a voice spoke. "Welcome, Naruto Uzumaki," the voice greeted. "I was wondering when you would arrive." "Who are you?" Naruto asked, looking around. "Where are you? How do you know who I am?" "I am a former elder of the Uzumaki clan," the voice said. "What, so you're a ghost?" Naruto asked. "I am now," the voice said. "I was once the Uzumaki clan's elder. However, an enemy shinobi sealed my soul inside a sealing tag, leaving me as a ghost once it was freed, since I couldn't return to it. My son, Ashina Uzumaki, took over as elder, with me aiding him. I have been in this world, either alive or as a ghost, for going on 500 years now. I know a great many things about a great many things. And now, I will aid you in whatever way you need." "So, just to be clear, a ghost is talking to me," Naruto said. "You haven't heard a thing I've said, have you?" the voice asked. "No, I heard," Naruto said. "It's just you're a ghost. I'm also your ancestor," the voice reminded him. "Be very careful not to anger me." "Oh, what?" Naruto asked. The voice chuckled. "Tell me, do you see anyone else here?" "No," Naruto said. "Then who do you think created that barrier?" the voice asked. "Oh," Naruto said. "Just because I'm a ghost doesn't mean I'm incapable of using jutsu," the voice said. "I have not spent my time trapped in this temple idly. I wrote down the sum total of every jutsu I know in these scrolls. And I spent time working on this sword as well. It is my masterpiece. It can only be lifted by those who bear the sealing formula you now have on your arm. And it cannot be broken." "Cool," Naruto said. "But wait. Why a barrier seal formula?" "The barrier is there as well, yes, but that was more a gift," the voice said. "The sealing formula is the part on your palm. I added it in for whichever Uzumaki came to investigate, since only an Uzumaki could absorb the barrier. Deploy the barrier simply by channeling your chakra through it, by the way. The amount of chakra determines the size." "Sweet." Naruto grinned before it faded. "Do you know what happened outside?" "You mean you don't?" the voice asked. "Do you even know what you are?" "You mean the nine-tailed fox's Jinchuriki?" Naruto asked. "Yes, that," the voice said. "Well, what happened outside was that your rage over Hinata Hyuga being wounded allowed some of the demon's chakra to mix with yours, sending you into a feral state, fueled by rage and, while vastly more powerful and faster than your own, is also considerably more dangerous, as you may have noticed." "Yeah," Naruto said. "So, can you teach me all your jutsus?" "No," the voice said. "You are free to take the scrolls, but I cannot train you. However, I do have something else I'll be doing to you." "What?" Naruto asked. "I'm going to be purifying you back to full Uzumaki status," the voice said. "What does that mean?" Naruto asked. "It means that your Uzumaki chakra from your mother was diluted by your father's chakra," the voice said. "I'm going to restore it to where it would be if you were a pure-blood Uzumaki." "And what will that do?" Naruto asked. "Well, for starters, on the physical side, your hair will turn the typical Uzumaki red," the voice stated. "Then you will get the 4 traits unique to the Uzumaki." "What are those?" Naruto asked. "Kekkei Genkai?" "Not exactly," the voice said. "The Uzumaki have one Kekkei Genkai that is the ability to form chains out of our chakra, called adamantine sealing chains. Aside from that, the other 3 are born of the Uzumaki's naturally powerful chakra. First, you will gain an elongated lifespan many times longer than that of a normal person. Second, you will gain the ability to heal others by allowing them to bite you and drain your chakra. However, doing so will cause permanent scars that cannot be healed. Finally, you will gain a sensory ability unique to the Uzumaki and powerful enough to rival even the Byakugan, and which functions similarly to the Byakugan." "Sweet," Naruto grinned. "Although, is there any way for me to either not have the super long lifespan thing, or to pass it on to someone else as well? You mean Hinata Hyuga? The voice asked. It is possible for you to not have it. If you want, I can make it so your lifespan is the same as it is now. However, you have to understand that it is a great gift being able to live for so long. Really? Naruto asked. So you're not the least bit lonely? You don't miss all of your friends and family? Fair enough, the voice said. Very well. I will leave your lifespan alone. Now pull the sword out of the pedestal, and then I will fix your chakra. Naruto gripped the sword and pulled upward. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the sword slipped free and Naruto held it up, inspecting it. The sword was roughly 4 feet long, and light as a feather. Why is it so light? Naruto asked. It is one of the jutsus I placed on it, the voice said. The same that allows only you to lift it. Oh, alright, Naruto said. Suddenly, Naruto felt lightheaded and looked at his reflection in the sword's blade, pulling his mask off. His blonde hair slowly began to turn red, starting at his scalp and working its way outward. Then, when it stopped, the lightheadedness went away. Is that it? Naruto asked. Yes, the voice said. What about the Kekkei Genkai, and the sensory thing? Naruto asked. You will learn to use both from the scroll behind you, the voice said. All of my accumulated knowledge and jutsus are in the rest of the scrolls. Can you seal them for me? Naruto asked. That way I can carry them all. Very well, the voice sighed. Suddenly, all the scrolls exploded into smoke, before flying over to Naruto and spiraling around in a funnel in front of him. He got the message and pulled his glove off, holding out his hand, and the smoke connected with his inner forearm, a storage seal appearing on it as the smoke was all absorbed by the seal. Then, when it was gone, the seal read that it was full and Naruto grinned. Put the sword on your back, the voice said. How? Naruto asked. When it makes contact with your back, a seal will spread onto your torso, holding it against you like a sheath until you need it, the voice said. Then, you will be able to remove it from your back easily. But no one else will. Alright, Naruto nodded, setting the flat of the blade against his back. Instantly, seal script wrapped around the blade, then around Naruto's torso over his clothes before fading. He looked under his shirt, seeing it was visible on his skin. He grinned, then pulled his glove back on and picked up the scroll behind himself, sealing it on his right palm. Then, he put his mask back on and headed for the door. Naruto Uzumaki, the voice said, stopping him. I will not be here if you return. Take care of my sword, and do not allow my knowledge into the wrong hands. I won't, Naruto said. There are sealing jutsus in there for literally every situation, the voice said. Even offense. If someone that was truly evil got their hands on the right ones, they would be unstoppable. I understand, Naruto said. Thank you for the warning and for your help. I'll see you around. No, you won't, the voice said, then went silent. Menma turned and walked over to the other weapons racks, seeing that, not only were there a lot of weapons, but there were a lot of weapons marked with the Uzumaki crest, including sharpened discs with the Uzumaki crest on both sides. He picked up a lot of marked kunai, finding that they were all chakra metal, then found a pair of knuckle duster trench knives with bladed knuckle guards made from the same metal that looked really familiar, though he couldn't tell where from. All of the knives had the Uzumaki crest etched into their blades, and he really liked the knives. He put them in his ninja tool pouch, then turned and walked out of the temple, finding the others sitting on various pieces of rubble, waiting for him. Nice sword, Sasuke said when he saw Menma. Did you find the source of the barrier? Kakashi asked. Yes, Menma nodded. It was an Uzumaki elder's ghost. He told me how to use the barrier now and gave me this cool sword. A ghost? Kakashi asked. Interesting. Well, if everything's taken care of, we should head back. Menma nodded and they started out, Menma once again at the back. Hinata began to fall back to talk to him, but Kiba landed beside her, giving her a stern look, and she nodded, catching back up. The rest of the trip back was almost completely silent. Menma pulled his new mask on and smiled. It was the same as his last mask except without the transformation jutsu and with a seal on it that would allow Menma to fire jutsus through it, rather than having to pull it off to the side every time. He had already reinforced it, the mask now being much harder on account of his much more powerful chakra, and now, it might even be able to withstand a blade. Menma stepped out of his house and looked around. His house was 2 stories, with the bottom floor having the kitchen, dining room, 2 bathrooms, a bedroom, and a library where he now kept his scrolls, which he had 2 clones reading through all of the jutsus and then trying to learn them. On the top floor of his house was another 3 bedrooms, all 3 being double the size of the room downstairs with king-sized beds, private bathrooms, and walk-in closets. Aside from that, there was also a much larger bathroom with a large bathtub, a toilet, a urinal, and a hot tub, for some random reason. Down the hallway from those, there was a room filled with an array of different weapons, including odd kunai with 2 prongs at the bottoms of the blades and wood grips. Menma had a few of those with him too, with freshly etched Uzumaki crests in the blades. Next to that room was one with a million different types and styles of armor. Across the hall from those rooms was an office of some kind, with a desk, a bunch of old papers and scrolls, but it was all blank. Then, at the end of the hallway, there was a door opening onto a balcony overlooking his backyard. In the yard, there was his own private hot spring, a sparring area, and 2 A and B waiting for Naruto to finish getting ready to train. So, I heard there was a bit of an incident on your mission, Yugao said. Yeah, Menma said. Apparently the Nine-Tails chakra slipped out a little when I got mad. I figured, Yugao nodded. The seal is weakening, that's why it's happening. Eventually, you will have to remake the seal, but that won't be for some time yet. Menma nodded, but just as he was about to draw his new sword, Sasuke landed beside him. Menma, time for our next Jesus. You live alone here? Sasuke gaped, staring at his house. Yeah, Menma said. We have a mission? Sasuke nodded. Where the hell did you get this? It was my mother's, Menma said, seeing Yugao give him a surprised look. He already knows, Menma explained. Anyway, yeah, Lord Hokage decided that since I was posing as an Uzumaki anyway, I might as well have an Uzumaki house. So he gave me this. Lucky prick, Sasuke grumbled. Come on. We got work to do. Menma nodded, creating a pair of clones to train, then left, following Sasuke to the Hokage's office, finding Kakashi and Sakura waiting, along with a man that was drunk and wearing a dark brown vest, tan pants, a straw hat, and a white towel around his neck. You must be the one we're waiting for, the man said. Not a great first impression. You must be the client, Menma said. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Menma Uzumaki. Tazuna, the man said, shaking Menma's hand. Thank you for coming, Menma, Hiruzen said. You already missed the mission brief. Sorry, Menma said. I was studying the scrolls I found. I know, Hiruzen nodded. Your mission is to escort Tazuna to the land of waves. You'll be protecting him from bandits or highwaymen. Menma nodded. That's all, Hiruzen said. You're dismissed. Sasuke, Sakura, Tazuna, will you give me and Menma a moment? Kakashi asked as they walked away. I need to talk to him for a moment. They both nodded and walked away, and Menma followed Kakashi up to the roof. Once there, Kakashi turned to face him. All right, out with it, Kakashi said. Who are you really? What do you mean? Menma asked, nervously. Do you think me a fool? Kakashi asked. I know you're not really some unbelievably lucky survivor from a group of Uzumaki who somehow managed to survive all these years only to be killed off by a group of 12 low-level Chunin rogue shinobi. I also know that red chakra you released during the fight was Tailed Beast chakra. So I'll ask one more time. Who are you really? Menma stared at him for a moment before reaching up, slipping his mask over his head and lowering it to his side. Kakashi stared at him, visible eye wide, for several minutes. You're Naruto? Kakashi breathed. But you were reported dead. I know, Naruto nodded. I was saved by 3 ANBU Black Ops, Itachi Uchiha, Yugao Yuzuki, and Tenzo. Then, under orders from the Hokage, I created a false identity, Menma Uzumaki. I wish he had told me, Kakashi breathed. Naruto could swear he saw Kakashi's eye watering. I swore to your father I'd protect you. And then when you were reported dead I thought I had failed him. How many people know? Aside from the ANBU and Lord Hokage, just you and Sasuke, Naruto said. I see, Kakashi nodded. I assume it's supposed to remain secret. Yes, Naruto nodded. I'm not even allowed to tell Hinata. You care about her, don't you? Kakashi asked. Yes, he nodded. I do. But I asked Lord Hokage and he said no. I see, Kakashi nodded. Well, if nothing else, at least she turned Kiba down. Yeah, I might have had something to do with that. Naruto smiled sheepishly. I figured, Kakashi nodded. But what happened to your hair? Originally, my first mask used the transformation jutsu to turn it red while I was wearing the mask, Naruto said. But the Uzumaki ghost in the temple turned me into a pure-blood Uzumaki, whatever that means. And my hair turned red. I still have to learn to use my new Kekkai Genkai, but I'll learn to do that on the mission. Kekkai Genkai? Kakashi blinked. You mean the adamant sealing chains? You've heard of them? Naruto gasped. Your mother had them, Kakashi nodded. Naruto smiled then sighed. We should go, Kakashi said. The others are waiting. Naruto nodded, pulling the mask on, and they headed to the gate where the other three were waiting. What was that about? Sasuke asked. Nothing important, Menma said. Shall we? Kakashi nodded and they began to walk away from the village, Tazuna in the middle with Menma and Sasuke in the front and Sakura back with Kakashi. Menma looked around, scanning the area for any sign of shinobi as they walked. He heard movement to the left and drew and hurled a kunai at it. He kept his arm extended, and after a moment of nothing moving, he curled his finger, tugging on the chakra thread he had attached and pulling his kunai back to himself. He put it away and walked over to the bushes, parting them and finding a snow-white rabbit lying against the tree. He grimaced. Menma, what the hell was that? Sakura demanded. You almost killed it. That was true. The mark from where his kunai had stuck was about an inch above the rabbit's head. It's a snow rabbit, Menma said. Yes so? Sakura asked. Sasuke didn't, and Kakashi had already realized. Snow rabbits were only white during winter, when there wasn't much sunlight. As it was currently not winter, the rabbit had clearly been raised inside. It was raised to be used as a substitution. Look out! Kakashi shouted. Menma spun as the others dropped. He drew his sword, slashing upward as a much larger one came spinning out of the trees at them. Menma's sword crashed into the larger one, sparks flying, then launched it past him and into a tree behind them. Everyone stood as Menma rested his sword on his shoulder, turning to look at the larger sword to find a shinobi standing on its handle. He wore light gray pants with black pinstripes, green camouflage leg warmers, black sandals, green camouflage forearm sleeves, bandages around his head and neck, and his hidden mist headband was sideways so the forehead protector was on the left side of his head. He had a strap reaching up the front of his torso then around its neck where it fastened to itself, probably to hold his mammoth sword. The thing's blade a good 7 or 8 feet cleaver with a hole in the end of the blade and a notch near the bottom. From edge to edge, it was probably 1.5 feet to 2 feet wide and a good 2 inches or so thick. The handle was probably 3 feet long in addition to the 7 or 8 foot blade, and just from blocking it Menma would estimate its weight at about 200 pounds. Well, if it isn't Zabuza Momochi, rogue ninja from the village hidden in the mist, Kakashi greeted. Another one? Menma groaned. Man, I had enough rogue ninjas I could take back at Yuzushiogakure. Stay back, Kakashi said. He's different from the last two. He's in a whole other league. Kakashi of the Sharingan Eye, Zabuza greeted. Did I get that right? Menma and Sasuke both stared at Kakashi as Kakashi reached up and pulled his headband up off of his left eye. There was a scar running through it where he had obviously lost his eye, but when he opened it, there was indeed a Sharingan present. It's too bad, huh? Zabuza said. But you'll have to hand over the old man, Zabuza said. Manji formation, Kakashi said. Protect the bridge builder, and stay out of this fight. I'm ready. Well, it looks like I get to see the Sharingan in action, Zabuza said. This is an honor. It gets real old about the time they use it to kick your ass, Menma stated, drawing his sword and moving to stand in front of Tazuna, Sasuke standing to his right, facing outward, toward the river off to the side, and Sakura on the opposite side of Sasuke, facing the other way, forming a triangle in front of Tazuna. Good luck. Hey, good luck, eh? Zabuza mused. We'll see about that. As for you, Jonin, in the assassination unit of the Hidden Mist, we had a standing order to destroy you on sight. Your profile was in our bingo book. It called you the man who copied over 1,000 jutsu. Kakashi, the copy ninja. Zabuza crouched, gripping the handle of his sword. Enough talking, I have to exterminate the old man, Zabuza growled. Go ahead and try, Menma said. If you can get past Kakashi-sensei and us. Zabuza laughed one before kicking off the tree, vanishing and taking his sword with him. A moment later he was on the surface of the water, one hand forming the seal of confrontation in front of his face, and the other with his index and middle fingers extended and his arms straight over his head. What's with that pose? Menma asked. Ninja art, hidden mist jutsu, Zabuza said as a thick mist formed around him, obscuring him from view for a moment before he was gone, then rolling in and covering the area. Suddenly, Menma couldn't see more than 5 feet. He looked around, cursing, but no matter which way he looked he saw nothing. 8 points, Zabuza's voice spoke after a few minutes of the mist growing steadily thicker. What's that? Sakura gasped. It's the number of easily targeted fatal spots in the human body, Menma said. Larynx, Zabuza said. Spine, lungs, liver, jugular, subclavian artery, kidneys, heart. Now, which will be my kill point? Suddenly, Kakashi released a burst of chakra, blowing some of the mist away, though Menma could still only see 5 feet. He turned, looking at the others and saw that Sasuke was trembling, barely able to move. Menma knew why. He could feel it too. Zabuza's intent to kill. His hatred. Evil. Malice. It was almost suffocating. Sasuke. Kakashi spoke up after a moment. Calm down. I'll protect you with my life. All of you. I will not allow my comrades to die. Trust me, I wouldn't be so sure about that, Kakashi, Zabuza spoke up, and then, he was there. Standing in the middle of Sasuke, Sakura, and Menma, his sword resting across his back. It was like he had been there the entire time. He could have killed them all, but he wanted to prove a point. It's over, Zabuza snarled. Or not. Menma reached fastest. Before Zabuza could kill anyone, Menma spun, driving his own sword through Zabuza's. Everyone froze. No blood left Zabuza. Instead, it was only water. Naruto blinked in surprise. How was he bleeding water? Suddenly, the Zabuza Menma had stabbed exploded. Menma spun, raising his sword just as the Zabuzas crashed into it, sending Menma skidding backward. Nice reflexes, Zabuza commended, just as Kakashi's kunai reached his throat. Don't move, Kakashi ordered. Now it's over. You're finished. Finished? Zabuza laughed. You really don't get it, do you? Suddenly, another Zabuza was behind Kakashi, already slashing. Kakashi managed to duck and Zabuza destroyed his own clone. His sword embedded itself in the ground and Zabuza switched hands, spinning and kicking Kakashi. Kakashi shot into the air, flying away from them. As he flew, Zabuza followed, leaping into the air and slashing him across the front. Kakashi-sensei! Menma shouted. Then, Kakashi turned to water, splashing down just as Zabuza landed on the water. A water clone. Zabuza raged. You copied my jutsu before your little speech, didn't you, Kakashi? He ducked as Kakashi slashed at him, then grabbed his arm, smashing Kakashi into the water. Then, he made several hand seals as Kakashi began to surface. Water prison jutsu. Zabuza said, the water around Kakashi shooting up, forming a sphere around him. Damn, Menma snarled. Now what? Menma noticed that Zabuza's arm was in the sphere as well, seeming to be holding the sphere's form. Zabuza made the seal of confrontation and a water clone formed in front of him. So it was true. Zabuza had to be present to keep the water prison jutsu going. You think wearing a headband makes you a ninja? Zabuza's clone snarled. When you've hovered between life and death so many times it doesn't faze you, then you may be called a ninja. When you've become so deadly your profile has been entered into my bingo book, then, you may have earned the title ninja. He made the seal of confrontation, reforming his hidden miss jutsu to the point that Menma couldn't even see the tip of his sword. But to call upstarts like you ninja is a joke, Zabuza snarled. Before Naruto could react, Zabuza's knee smashed into his mask, launching him backward but not damaging the mask. Fuck! Zabuza shouted. God damn it! What kind of mask is that? Hey, I guess I forgot to warn you, Menma grinned, standing and using a chakra thread to pull his sword back to his hand. My mask is kinda hard to break. Then, Zabuza's fist crashed into his back, launching him forward. Menma crashed down mask first and bounced, flipping to his feet then rolling his neck to try to keep the whiplash at bay. Alright, I'll admit, Zabuza spoke. It's a pretty nice mask. But a tough mask doesn't make you a ninja. Menma looked around wildly. He couldn't see. Zabuza's foot crashed into his stomach, launching him backward into Sasuke, both of them crashing to the ground before Menma rolled off of him. Listen! Kakashi shouted. Get the bridge builder and run. You can't win this fight. He's using all of his power to keep me in this prison, so he can only fight you with his water clone. But his clone can't go far from his body. If you can get away from him, the clone can't follow. We'd be dead before we went 5 feet, Menma growled, pushing himself to his feet, a hand to his stomach. He winced, as he turned his neck, eyes closing, and suddenly he could see. He could see Zabuza's fist, less than a second before it crashed into his stomach. Zabuza kicked Sasuke to the side then flipped kicking Menma again and Menma crashed to the ground beside his sword, grabbing it, and using it to push himself up. Was that no way? Menma grinned. He closed his eyes. Sure enough, he could see. Not quite like normal. Everything was black and white, except the people. He could see them as glowing blue chakra silhouettes, Zabuza and Kakashi being much brighter than anyone else, and Tazuna barely glowing at all. Chakra, Menma thought. I can see their chakra. He began to turn, but suddenly he was seeing everything. 360 degrees, even above and below himself. Even himself. It was disorienting. Badly. He saw Zabuza's clone charging at him and moved to block the strike, only for it to crash into his right side, launching him. He could see all sides, but he wasn't skilled enough to tell what was what. He already hated his sensing ability. He stood, focusing his new sight until he could only see as though it were normal vision. Then he began to turn. At the last second, a glowing chakra light came into view and he dropped into a crouch, making his vision swing around on Zabuza's clone as it punched downward at him. He dove forward, rolling, and then stood, grinning. I see you, Menma grinned. But how? Zabuza snarled. Not sure how to explain it, Menma said. It's really disorienting though. I'm not fond of it, and using it to fight is a bitch. Zabuza's clone drew its sword, sprinting forward and slashing at Naruto. Naruto drove his own sword into the ground in the way of Zabuza's slash and let go. When the massive sword hit Naruto's, it stopped in its tracks. What? Zabuza's clone demanded. Naruto jumped, kicking at him, but Zabuza's clone leapt back, growling in rage before vanishing. Naruto spun, seeing the clone on the water. He picked his sword back up as Sasuke stepped up beside him, he thought. He wasn't looking. Alright, Sasuke, Naruto growled. I've got a plan. You ready? Yeah, Sasuke nodded. Naruto dropped his sword, letting it hit the ground before sprinting at Zabuza. What are you doing? Kakashi demanded. I told you to run. We heard you, Menma said. Shadow Clone Jutsu. He created 5 clones, then all of them, him included, drew their trench knives, streaming their chakra through it. Shadow clones and the flying sparrow technique? Zabuza mused. Not bad. The first 2 clones reached Zabuza from the far side, attacking him. He spun, slashing them, and they exploded just as the next 3 clones attacked him. He slashed them all and they exploded just before Naruto burst out of the ground, sword first, stabbing at Zabuza's face. Zabuza leaned backward, avoiding the attack, then push-kicked Naruto, launching him, the sword landing in front of Zabuza. As Naruto skidded along the ground, he pulled his backpack off and reached into it. Alright, try this, Naruto said, pulling out a windmill shuriken. He hurled it to Sasuke, who caught it, spinning as a grin spread over his face. He then held the shuriken in front of himself, his hand upside down as the blades spread open. A shuriken? Zabuza laughed. You'll never touch me with that. Sasuke leapt into the air, flipping and hurling the shuriken. However, instead of hitting the clone, it sped past, aimed for the real one. At the last second, he caught it, swinging it out to the side and grinning behind his bandaged mask. Then, he saw the second shuriken Sasuke had hidden in the shadow of the first. It was aimed directly at his legs, and he couldn't avoid it. Not bad, Zabuza's clone nodded. Then, Zabuza leapt, picking his feet up and allowing the shuriken to pass under him. Just as he did, Naruto exploded into smoke. Zabuza's eyes widened as the second shuriken was covered in smoke as well, and a kunai with chakra streaming along it streaked out of it. Zabuza swore, ripping his arm free of the water prison jutsu just ahead of the kunai, which stabbed into the ground at Sasuke's feet instead. Naruto flipped, landing on the water and grinning as Kakashi splashed down. Still think we're just some upstarts? Menma grinned. No, Zabuza growled. You're actually pretty good. But now you're dead. He turned, moving to throw the shuriken he was still holding only for it to stop against the armor plate on the back of Kakashi's hand. That's quite enough, Kakashi said. Thank you, Menma Sasuke. Good work. I'll take it from here. Naruto nodded and used the body flicker technique to get back to Sasuke, picking up his kunai and putting it away, then grabbing his sword. Suddenly, Zabuza and Kakashi both leapt backward, Zabuza beginning to make hand signs. Ushi saru yu ne I tori ushi uma tori na tora inu tora mi ushi hitsuji mi I hitsuji na, Zabuza chanted, making the corresponding hand signs. Ushi saru yu ne I tori ushi uma tori na tora inu tora mi ushi hitsuji mi I hitsuji na, Kakashi chanted, making the exact same hand seals at the exact same time. Jin, saru, tori, tatsu, tori, ushi, uma, hitsuji, tora, mi, na, saru, yu, I, tatsu, hitsuji, na, ushi, saru, tori, jin, na, I, tori, both chanted, finishing at the exact same time. The hell kinda jutsu requires 44 hand seals? Menma blinked. Water style, water dragon jutsu. Both combatants shouted, as a pair of massive dragons made out of water rose up between them. Oh, that kind, Menma shrugged. The two dragons twisted around and around each other before finally crashing together, water crashing down all around the two, who were standing in a kind of cage made out of the base of their water dragons. Then, as their dragons fought, the two sprinted forward, Zabuza slashing with his sword and Kakashi blocking it with a kunai, both struggling to overpower the other. As they fought, Zabuza looked troubled. Then, they leapt away from each other, both readying themselves to attack again. After a moment, they put their weapons away and began to run in a circle, mirroring each other. They stopped at the same time, and both took Zabuza's stance for the hidden mist-jutsu, moving at the exact same time. Both lowered their left arms, keeping their hands in AC shape. Going to do next? Kakashi suddenly said as though finishing someone's sentence. Both placed the tips of their fingers together in front of their chests, with their thumbs touching below, forming a diamond between their hands. It makes you furious, doesn't it? Kakashi asked. Ha! Zabuza said as they both formed the tiger hand seal. All you're doing is copying me. Like a monkey, you can't beat me with cheap tricks. Both said at the same time. I'll crush you. Zabuza stared in shock, eyes wide with terror. Menma wasn't far off. How was Kakashi able to know what Zabuza would do before he would do it? Was the Sharingan really that powerful? When I finish with you, you'll never open that monkey mouth again. Zabuza snarled, both of them forming hand signs. Then Zabuza froze. Kakashi did not. Water style, giant vortex jutsu. Kakashi said. A ring of water formed in front of Zabuza, then thickened. Then, it had turned into a wall of water, blasting forward and hitting Zabuza, dragging him along. Finally, it slammed him into a tree where Kakashi instantly tacked him down with kunai through each arm and each leg. Zabuza shouted in pain just as Menma landed beside Kakashi in the tree above him, drawing his sword. You're finished, Kakashi said. How? Zabuza snarled. Can you see into the future? Yes, Kakashi said. This is your last battle. Ever. He reached for a kunai, and Naruto moved to drop down and finish him. However, before he could, a pair of Senbon stabbed into Zabuza's neck, killing him instantly and knocking him free of the tree, allowing him to collapse. What? The Menma snarled, flipping to the underside of the branch, staring at a tree a short distance away where a shinobi in a hidden mist Anbu mask with a blue coat over a brown kimono was standing. Who are you? You were right, the person chuckled, the voice sounding feminine. Thought Menma suspected it was a boy, probably no older than he was himself. It was his last battle. Kakashi dropped to Zabuza, feeling for a pulse. Nothing. No vital signs, Kakashi said. Thank you, the Anbu bowed. I'd been tracking Zabuza for a long time, waiting for this chance, to finally take him down. By your mask, I see that you're a tracker ninja from the village hidden in the mist, Kakashi said. Impressive, the Anbu said, straightening up. You're well informed. It was my duty to stop Zabuza. The Anbu suddenly disappeared in a swirl of leaves, then similarly reappeared beside Zabuza's body. Your struggle is over for now, the Anbu said, lifting Zabuza's corpse. I must deal with the remains. There are a lot of secrets in this body. They must not get into the wrong hands. Please excuse me. Farewell. And with that, Leave once again spiraled around the boy before he vanished along with the body. Menma instantly didn't trust the Anbu. No, Menma said. No what? Sasuke asked. There's no way, Menma said. Save it, Menma, Kakashi said. We'll talk later. Menma sighed and nodded. We haven't completed the mission yet, Kakashi said. We have to get the bridge builder to his bridge. Sorry for causing all this trouble for ya, Tazuna laughed. But you can rest at my house when we get there. Kakashi nodded, pulling his headband back down over his Sharingan. Alright everyone, Kakashi said. Let's get a move on. He turned, beginning to walk away as Naruto put his sword away again. After Kakashi's fourth step, he stiffened, eye widening. Then, he tipped forward and collapsed. Everyone rushed over and knelt and Menma sighed. It's alright, Menma said. He just used too much chakra. He'll be alright. Unfortunately, we now have to carry him. Great, Sasuke sighed. Alright. Let's go. Menma created a handful of clones to carry Kakashi with him, and they set off, Tazuna leading the way. Menma sat down in front of Kakashi, one of his clones sliding the door closed before releasing their jutsu. Then, Menma pulled off his mask. Alright, Kakashi said. What was it you were saying before? Zabuza is alive, Naruto stated. If that had been a real Anbu, he would have burned Zabuza's both on the spot. Also, Yugao and Itachi taught me about the body's pressure points and its uses. The two that were hit by the Senbon, those aren't fatal pressure points. They're the two most easily targeted to put the target into a state of death. I agree, Kakashi nodded. Too many things about it weren't adding up. We'll see him again, Naruto said. And next time, you won't be able to pull whatever genjutsu you used last time. So you figured that part out too, huh? Kakashi smiled. You're very sharp. The door suddenly slid open and Naruto froze. Hello Sakura, Kakashi greeted as Naruto picked up his mask and pulled it back on. Hello Sasuke. Hello Kakashi-sensei, Sakura greeted. Are you feeling better? Only a little, Kakashi said. It'll be a few days before I'm walking around again. I see, Sakura nodded. Kakashi-sensei, your Sharingan is amazing and all, but if it puts this much strain on you, maybe you shouldn't use it. We'd be dead without it, Menma stated. Kakashi-sensei, with your permission, I want to train both Sakura and Sasuke. That way we'll stand a better chance of fighting against Zabuza and the Anbu next time we meet them. Agreed, Kakashi nodded. We'll be here a few days anyway. Go ahead. I'll join you when I'm feeling better. Menma nodded and stood, turning to the other two. Follow me, Menma said. I'll fill you in while we train. Sasuke nodded and Sakura looked confused but both followed anyway. Menma led them out to a clearing with 3 fairly large trees where Menma had had his clones practicing what sealing jutsus they knew. So Sasuke, you're going to learn to climb a tree without any hands, Menma said, creating a clone who walked over to a tree then up the side of it. Sasuke walked over to the clone, who was standing on the side of the tree. Menma turned to Sakura. I'm going to teach to fight, Menma said. After you climb a tree. Your chakra control is high enough that you should pick it up fast. Channel your chakra to your feet then release it through the bottom at a steady rate. Sakura nodded, doing as he instructed, then ran at a tree and straight up it, flying past Sasuke who was having trouble going more than a few feet, which was possible without chakra. Sakura made it to a branch and stopped, sitting down to watch Sasuke try again and again, marking the tree with a kunai each time. Then, she dropped back to the ground and turned to Menma, who readied himself for a fight. Have you ever had any real training in taijutsu? Menma asked. No, Sakura said. Just the fights we did in the academy. Alright, Menma said walking over. I'll show you the basics and train you in what I was taught. However, I'll have to train you faster than I was. We don't have a full week. A week? Sakura blinked. Well, more than a week to get here, but you could be decent after a week, Menma said. He showed Sakura basic form, techniques, and footwork, and she picked it up quickly at first. Alright, now attack me, Menma said. Fair warning, try not to hit the mask. It'll hurt you a whole lot more than me. Sakura nodded and sprinted forward, throwing a kick at his side. He blocked it with his hand and she spun, kicking at his other side. He blocked that too, followed by a string of punches. Again and again she attacked him only for him to brush off her attacks. She had some decent power, to be honest, but she wasn't great at technique. She was more of a brawler. Focus, Sakura, Menma said. You're just attacking wildly. If you're going to learn to fight, you have to keep your form and your technique. I'm doing fine. Sakura snapped. Are you? Menma asked. He brushed a punch to the side and drew his trench knife, putting it to her throat. You're leaving yourself open when you strike, Menma said. It's among the biggest mistakes you can make while fighting. He put his knife away and Sakura sighed, readying herself. She sprinted forward again attacking him, and again, he blocked everything. Finally he jumped back, making her stop. Alright, this time you're going to block my attacks, Menma said. Counter if you see a chance. Sakura nodded and Menma walked forward. He put his hands behind his head and Sakura lunged forward, punching him. He instantly swung his left hand down, knocking her punch aside and grabbing her around the throat. You see? Menma asked. No guard when you strike. He released and she backed away, preparing herself. Then, Naruto stepped forward, jabbing at her. She blocked it, wincing. He kicked at her and she blocked that too, barely, before he flipped, kicking at her back. She spun, getting out of the way, allowing Menma to flip to the ground and sweep her legs out from under her. He stood, sighing as she pushed herself up. He looked up at Sasuke as he dropped to the ground again. Sasuke, help her get her technique down, Menma said. I'm not making any progress. Sasuke nodded, walking over and had Sakura attack him. Within seconds he agreed with Naruto. He corrected her beginning stance, then had her throw different strikes at the open air and corrected her as she did. Then, he had her attack him again. She did a bit better this time, not an amazing improvement, but it was better. Sasuke returned to climbing his tree and Menma turned to Sakura. Alright, Menma said. This time we're going to actually spar. Don't worry, I'll go easy on you. Sakura nodded and stepped forward, attacking him. She did, in fact, do better. Granted, he was still brushing her attacks off like nothing, but she had less openings when attacking. Less. Not none. After a couple of minutes, he brushed her attack to the side and tapped his fist against her side. She jumped, spinning and kicking at his head, and he ducked under it, tapping his fist against the middle of her back. She landed and threw a side kick at his head, which he caught, holding her foot in the air, leaving her off balance. Well, you're starting to improve, Menma said. You're not picking it up as quickly as I did, but you're improving. He released her foot, and she fell, instantly pushing herself back up. It's been like 2 hours, Sakura said. I know, Menma nodded. So, shall we continue? Sakura nodded, stepping forward and attacking him again. Once again, he blocked her attacks and tapped his fist against her whenever he saw an opening. She began to get frustrated and her form went out the window. That's enough, Menma said. I have one other option. I know of a seal that causes intense pain when it's placed against the skin. I could use that as incentive, to not leave any gaps. Sakura thought for a moment, then nodded. Menma nodded as well, running his right hand over his left hand, a seal appearing across his knuckles. Then, he did the same to the other hand before crouching and readying himself. Sakura stepped forward, punching at him, and he leaned aside, tapping her in the abdomen with his left hand. Instantly Sakura shouted in pain, staggering back and holding her stomach. Sasuke turned to look at them, eyes narrowed, but Sakura shook her head and readied herself. Good incentive, Sakura said. Definitely don't want to be hit again. Menma nodded and stepped forward, punching at her. Sakura knocked his hand aside and jumped, kicking at him, but he caught her foot. At the same time, her other foot crashed into his mask, knocking him back. He steadied himself and grinned. Much better, Menma said. That was good, Sakura nodded, rolling her ankle. That's a hard mask, Sakura said. It's reinforced with my chakra, Menma said. I don't want it breaking again. It actually hurt Zabuza's knee, remember? Oh yeah, Sakura nodded. Not bad. She sprinted forward, sidestepping his first punch, then punching at his ribs. He turned sideways, avoiding her, and moved to hit her with the seal again, only for her to roll in midair, kicking down at his head. He blocked it with his forearms, and she grabbed his shoulder, flipping around him, then hip throwing him. He flipped, landing on his feet and grinning. Alright, Menma smirked. I'll stop holding back so much then. He stood, readying himself, and Sakura did the same. Both stepped forward, punching at each other. Menma caught Sakura's fist, and she ducked under his. Then, her knee connected with his side and he yelped in pain, releasing her fist and staggering sideways. She grinned, leaping forward, and Menma sighed. Just as she did, he stepped forward, ducking under her and tapping a punch against her stomach 3 times, making her shout in pain, curling into a ball and crashing to the ground. Menma turned, removing the pain seals from his fists, and Sakura pushed herself. That was excessive, Sakura complained. True, Menma nodded. No more seals. This time, I actually punch. Sakura gulped but nodded and readied herself. She charged forward, eyes flashing between different spots on Menma's body, trying to guess how he would strike first. She threw a punch at him, and he ducked under it, slamming an uppercut into her ribs. He was careful to keep the power down to a level just high enough to hurt and disrupt her attacks, but he made sure it was still enough to get the point across. Not good enough. Sakura planted her right foot and spun, kicking at Menma, but he ducked under it. She spun around again, faster than he expected, and kicked at him again. This time, he jumped over the kick and she planted that foot, punching at him. He blocked her fist, using it to flip, and landed behind her, pulling her arm backward over her shoulder. Then, he put a kunai to her throat. Dead, Menma said. Not bad at all, Sakura. You picked it up pretty quickly after I used the seals. However, you're going to need a lot of training to last in a fight against someone like the Anbu or Zabuza. I don't plan to have to fight anyone like that for a while, Sakura said. Then, Menma said, putting the kunai away. You know she'll be training with Shikamaru to fight, and he was pretty good, when he wanted to be. Sakura nodded and stepped away from him, readying herself again. He chuckled, also getting ready. If nothing else, she was driven. Menma sprinted across the branches of tree after tree. He had been given the day off. Today. Of all the days to be given the day off, it had to be the day that he expected Zabuza to be back in action. The others had already left for the bridge, meaning he was late, and would probably miss the beginning of the fight. He stopped suddenly as he spotted a boar off to the side. He leapt over to it, seeing it was heavily wounded and dying. Swords, Menma mused, looking at the trees around them, and the trail of slashes leading back toward Tazuna's house. Tazuna was at the bridge, but his daughter Tsunami and her son Inari were still there. Inari was a little brat. And he had reason to be. His father had tried to stand up to Gato, the man that had hired first the 2 Chunin that had met them in the Land of Waves, and now Zabuza to kill Tazuna. As a result, Inari's father had been brutally beaten and tortured, then publicly executed with Inari right there. After that, Inari had lost faith in heroes, and had become a brat. But if Tsunami was in trouble, Menma had no doubt that Inari would step up. He was a good kid. Sorry guys, Menma sighed, using a kunai to put the boar out of its misery. You'll have to wait a little longer. Menma turned, sprinting back the way he had come. As he neared the house, he heard a scream. A little later, he heard Tsunami shouting for Inari to run. He sped up. Finally he broke out of the trees to see Inari charging two thugs, one bare-chested with tattoos on most of his back and left arm and the other with a blue shirt and a stocking cap. Both drew their swords, slashing at Inari. However, before they could, Menma landed in front of him, blocking the swords with his trench knives. Bad move guys, Menma snarled. You really shouldn't have attacked a kid. Who the hell are you? The taller one with tattoos demanded. Sorry, I'm a little pressed for time, Menma said. He streamed his chakra through his blades, slicing through both swords instantly before tossing the knives into the air and smashing his fists into the thugs' stomachs, knocking them out. He caught his knives, putting them away, then quickly tied the two up. Alright Inari, Menma grinned. Now you're gonna have to look out for your mom until she wakes up. I gotta go help my friends. Think you can handle it? Yeah, Inari nodded, smiling. Alright, Menma nodded. See ya. And with that, he took off at a sprint, leaving the boy and his mother behind. He moved as quickly as he could, passing the boar in record time, then making his way to the bridge. When he reached it, he found that it was covered in mist already, too thick to see through. He closed his eyes, sensing for the other's chakra, and smiled when he found them. Sasuke was fighting the Anbu, except that the Anbu's chakra was blurred all around Sasuke, as though he had literally become a sort of dome. Sasuke looked worn out, as well. Menma sprinted into the mist, heading towards Sasuke. As he neared it, he slowed to a stop, opening his eyes to see Sasuke surrounded by mirrors of what looked like ice. They were floating in a sort of dome, and Sasuke had several sanbans sticking out of him. The Anbu was reflected in all of the mirrors. Suddenly, Sakura leapt into the air, moving just barely into view through the mist, and hurled a kunai towards Sasuke, who was essentially in the fetal position as sanban rained down on him from everywhere at once. At the last second, as it was passing a mirror, the Anbu suddenly appeared, halfway extended from the mirror, and caught the kunai. The sanban stopped and Sakura and Sasuke both stared at the Anbu in shock. Sasuke fell to his hands and knees and Menma hurled a shuriken. It slammed into the Anbu's mask, scratching it, but it failed to break it. He grunted in annoyance. He wasn't the only one with a tough mask. He sprinted into the circle of mirrors as the Anbu collapsed, helping Sasuke to his feet and pulling the sanban out. You alright? Menma asked. Why are you inside the mirrors? Sasuke growled. Oh shut up, Menma grumbled as the Anbu stood. Zabuza, the Anbu spoke up. Let me fight this boy my own way. Thank God, Menma snorted. And here I thought I was going to have to settle for Zabuza again. Watch your tone, brat. Zabuza snapped. Fine, you want to fight Haku so bad, go ahead. He's all yours, Haku. Alright, Menma grinned, readying himself. Let's go, Haku. Show me what you've got. Haku nodded and drew a pair of sanban. Menma removed his sword from his back and stabbed it into the ground, then drew his trench knives, sprinting forward. Haku met his charge, stabbing at him with the sanban. Menma swept the sword aside, then slashed at Haku. Haku leapt back and Menma smirked. I don't need these, Menma decided, putting them away. Where were we? Haku hurled a sanban at Menma and Menma caught it, tossing it aside. Haku sprinted forward, drawing another, then began to attack Menma, using them like knives. Menma avoided strike after strike, easily keeping out of Haku's way. Then, he caught one of Haku's wrists, spinning and slamming him into the ground, then letting go and stepping back. A paralysis seal spread from Haku's wrist to cover his body. Haku struggled to move but was unable. Haku! Zabuza shouted. Stop toying with him. Toying with me? Menma smirked. Suddenly, Haku was on his feet again. He stabbed at Menma and Menma only barely managed to avoid it. Haku spun, stabbing again, and Menma swept his arm aside, grabbing his wrist and jumping, kicking downward at Haku. Haku blocked the kick, then flipped, kicking Menma into the air before leaping backward to a mirror, passing into it. What the Menma looked around. Only one Haku. He closed his eyes. Yup. Only one. Suddenly, Haku's chakra blurred before vanishing. He spun. Haku was behind him and Sasuke. Then, it blurred again, the blur spreading until it was all around them. Menma opened his eyes, knowing what he would see. Haku was in every mirror. What kind of jutsu is this? Menma asked. Don't worry, Menma, Haku said. You and I will finish our fight after I finish Sasuke. Suddenly, sanban began to rain down around them. However, the only one affected was Sasuke. They began to scratch him, but none actually stuck. Nothing was fatal, or even serious. Just painful. Menma slammed his left hand into the ground, channeling his chakra through the barrier seal on his arm, and the barrier spread around himself and Sasuke, stopping the sanban. So you can use this one now, huh? Sasuke asked, pushing himself back up. Good. Now what, Haku? Menma asked. How long are you prepared to sit there? Haku asked. Well, considering the only chakra required for this jutsu is to deploy it and retract it, plenty, Menma shrugged. What's the plan? Sasuke asked. Don't know, Menma shrugged before whispering. But we better figure it out soon because this barrier is exhausting to maintain. We need to figure out how he can attack from all sides at once, Sasuke said. Menma closed his eyes again, looking straight up. For the briefest of seconds, he could swear he saw a gap in Haku's chakra. But then it was gone. No, not gone. It moved. He took a deep breath, extending his sensory skills to all outward directions again. There. He could see the gap. It was moving. Fast. Flashing from mirror to mirror. It wasn't Haku, though. It was the end of Haku's afterimage. And the beginning by default. He followed it, mentally labeling every mirror he saw. He counted the mirrors off. Then, when the gap hit each, he counted again. It was nearly impossible, since each time it hit a mirror he lost track of it, but he was able to figure one thing out. Haku was moving at light speed. And he was going on a circuit. When I drop the barrier, send a fireball jutsu straight up, Menma whispered and Sasuke nodded, making the hand seals. Menma counted, predicting. Then, he pulled the barrier back, the seal script returning to his arm as Sasuke's fireball shot straight into the air. It hit the mirrors, failing to damage them, but it did do something. When the fireball ended, Menma opened his eyes and grinned. All of Haku's reflections now had the bottom of their kimonos burned, along with their left sleeve, and a little bit of their hand had turned red. That was close, Haku said. So you figured it out, barely, Menma said. I won't be able to do that again. I got lucky with the timing. Your chakra leaves an afterimage that I can sense. And there's a gap where your afterimage ends just before you move through that spot again on your circuit. I just timed when the gap flashed through and how long it would take Sasuke's fireball to reach that spot, then dropped my barrier. Impressive, Haku nodded. Thank you for the information, Sasuke, Menma said. We're about to get hit, but your eyes are sharper than mine. Or my senses. After, I need you to watch carefully, Sasuke nodded. A second later, Saban began to rain down around them. After several seconds, it stopped and Sasuke dropped to a knee, Menma only barely better off. He picked up his sword, then put it on his back and created a shadow clone for each of the mirrors. All of the Menma leapt at the mirrors and Sasuke looked up, watching those in front of him. Then, all at once, the Menma all exploded into smoke, except the real one, who crashed down beside Sasuke again. He rolled to his feet and tried again. Once again, he was repelled. Anything? Menma grunted, pushing himself up. Try again, Sasuke said. Menma nodded, sending out more clones. This time, as he did, Sasuke kicked water into the air. Once again, Menma was repelled. He crashed down beside Sasuke, just as Saban began to assault Sasuke too, knocking him down as well. Both pushed themselves up, wincing. This hurts, Menma growled. Please tell me you've got something. Yes, Sasuke said. Once more, Menma nodded and sent another wave of clones out. Just as they began to explode, Sasuke sent a fireball jutsu upward. Nothing happened and the clones continued to explode. When there was one left, Sasuke sent a fireball past it, and it made it a little further before being launched backward, crashing down beside Sasuke. Good, Menma grinned, pushing himself up and looking at the reflections, who now had the entire bottom of their kimonos blackened. You got him, Sasuke nodded. I'll give you an opening, Menma whispered. Ready? Sasuke nodded. Then, Menma turned, sprinting toward a gap between the mirrors. After a couple of steps, he was blasted backward. He flipped, landing on his feet, and sprinted toward another gap. This time, as he neared it, a fireball shot past him. Then, Haku was in front of him, and he was flying backward. When he landed beside Sasuke, Sasuke was pulling a Saban out of his shoulder. This is exhausting, Menma said, still on his back. He pushed himself up, groaning, and looked around. No new damage. Menma stood, sprinting forward again, Sasuke taking off in the other direction. Then, a Saban stabbed into Sasuke's shin, followed by several more to his forearms and shoulder. Then, a second barrages Menma in the back of his left shoulder, before Haku kicked him, launching him backward again. He crashed down on his right shoulder, flipping to his feet to keep from having the Saban push further in. Here we go again, Menma snarled. He sprinted forward, watching. Waiting. The moment Haku appeared in a mirror in front of him, he flipped backward, landing on his feet and sprinting toward another gap. To his left, he saw Haku running from mirror to mirror alongside him. Then, he was gone. Menma, behind you! Sasuke shouted. Menma spun, reaching for his sword, only for the Saban hit him in the chest, throwing him to Sasuke. He crashed down on his side, thankfully, then pushed himself up, looking to Sasuke. This isn't going well, Naruto growled. He's grown tired of toying with us. I know, Sasuke growled. Looking for a counterattack? Haku asked, appearing in front of them. I'll save you the trouble. Saban suddenly flew at the two of them from off to the side and Sasuke grabbed one off the ground, blocking the Saban as they approached. One slipped through, hitting him in the left thigh and dropping him to his knee, but the rest he deflected. Get up, Menma, Sasuke growled. We need to attack him together on this. I know, Menma growled. I'm working on it. He began to struggle to his feet, ripping the Senbon out of his chest as he did. They were in pressure points, blocking his chakra control, making him weak. Not to mention he had used up a lot on the clones. As he pushed himself up, Senbon began to rain down at them and Sasuke began to block them expertly. Menma got his knees under him, reaching back and pulling the rest of the Senbon out of his back. Just as he ripped the last out, Sasuke shoved him to the side then leapt the other way, a dozen or so Senbon stabbing into the ground where Naruto had been. However, one of them had managed to get Sasuke in the leg again. There, Menma sighed, pushing himself up and grinning. Now that my chakra's not being actively blocked, I've got a little fight back. You've been trained by Anbu Black Ops, Haku noted. You knew why I aimed where I did. That's right, Menma nodded. Haku appeared in every mirror again, and Menma took a steadying breath, tensing and readying himself. Jump! Sasuke shouted. Menma leapt into the air, Senbon sticking into the ground at his feet, then landed a distance away from Sasuke who had also dodged Senbon. He looked over at him and blinked in surprise. Sasuke's normally black eyes were now red. The right had two Tomo, from what Menma could see at this distance, and the left had one. Sharingan, Haku said. Be ready, Menma, Sasuke said. If I say move, he's coming for you. Got it, Menma nodded. Then, all at once, Sasuke was running toward Menma. Menma swore. He was the target. And it would be fatal. Menma drew his sword and threw it into Sasuke's path. It hit him in the stomach, knocking him onto his back and pinning him, thanks to its selective weight seal, just as Naruto's hand slammed into the ground, the barrier shooting up around him again. With a loud crash, Haku slammed face first into it, stopping short. His Senbon clattered to the ground as well. All but one. One had been thrown before the barrier went up. Menma looked down as pain shot through his body. It was sticking out of his abdomen. In the center of the seal holding the nine-tailed fox. Oh shit, Menma thought. Suddenly, the barrier retracted and Haku stood, groaning before leaping backward into the closest mirror. Menma groaned, pain and rage flooding him in equal measure. Then, he doubled over, fingers screaming, feeling like the skin was peeling off as his fingernails grew into claws. His mask fell off, his hair standing on end, teeth growing pointed. Fiery red chakra exploded into the air around him in a column before shrinking down, taking on the form of a fox's head above Naruto. The head turned toward Haku, who was only in one mirror, and roared, the sound deafening. Sasuke clapped his hands over his ears, shouting to Naruto, but Naruto's mind was no longer capable of comprehending anything. Anything, except his desire to rip Haku to shreds. The Senbon in his stomach dropped to the ground, the wound hissing and steaming as it sealed, the other open puncture wounds and scratches doing the same. He charged at Haku, first on all fours, then with his hands back, fingers flexed, ready to claw at Haku, to rip him apart. Haku hurled several Senbon at Naruto but Naruto roared, a pulse of red chakra knocking them out of the air. Haku vanished and Naruto skidded to a stop, looking around, snarling. Haku appeared in all of the mirrors, hurling Senbon into his back. Then, he straightened up, the Senbon flying out of his back as a pulse of chakra shot outward, kicking up a wind so strong it forced Haku to stop. Then, before Haku could react, Naruto's fist crashed into the mirror, shattering it. No, Haku. Suddenly, Haku dropped out of a fragment of mirror above him, ready to stab him with a Senbon. At the last second, Naruto flipped sideways, spinning as Haku crashed to the ground, missing him. He landed on his feet and right hand, snarling as he watched Haku. Haku retreated toward a mirror but at the last second, Naruto's hand caught his arm. He held him in place, nearly crushing Haku's arm just from squeezing. Then Naruto roared. Chakra burst out of him, several of the mirrors cracking from it, before his fist crashed into Haku's mash, blasting him out of the circle of mirrors, smashing him straight through one of them. Haku crashed to the ground, bouncing and rolling along the bridge for several yards. Naruto chased him, a cloud of dust flying up behind him. As he sped toward Haku, Haku stood, half of his mask breaking off and falling away. Then the other. Naruto pulled his right hand back, claws extended. He drove it forward. Then he froze. His claws were within a millimeter of Haku's eyes. But then they retracted. Naruto's teeth shrunk back to normal, and his hands slowly lowered before he staggered back, panting. Why did you stop? Haku asked. You could have won this fight. I don't want to be a monster, Naruto growled. I've already caused enough death and destruction from that power. I've already caused too much fear. I'm not a monster. I refuse to be. I'm going to protect her with my strength. Not his. His? Haku said, confused. Are you not going to kill me then? If you fight me, you'll die, Naruto snarled. However, if you choose to walk away now, you can live. I cannot do that, Haku said. I serve Zabuza. I live to see his dream fulfilled. Those who have no use have no right to live. Kill me. Excuse me? Naruto blinked. I failed Zabuza, Haku said. I cannot defeat you. Therefore I do not deserve to live. Strike. Kill me. You want to die? Naruto asked. I do, Haku nodded. Why? Naruto asked. I don't understand. I told you I failed, Haku said. I am merely a tool, to be used as Zabuza sees fit. If I cannot serve my purpose, there is no point in keeping me. Please. Kill me. Naruto stared at Haku for a moment, then drew one of his trench knives, streaming his chakra through it. Fine, Naruto said. If you really want me to, then I'll grant you a swift death. Haku nodded, closing his eyes. Naruto walked over, standing in front of him, raising the trench knife and pulling it back, the chakra shroud extending to cut through Haku's neck completely. However, after a moment, his arm fell to his side, the chakra on the blade fading. No, Naruto said. I won't kill you. If you live, you can find another reason to live. A better one. One that doesn't treat you like garbage. Maybe you could even join the Hidden Leaf Village. They would accept me? Haku asked. Yes, Naruto nodded. They accepted you? Haku asked. Naruto's eyes widened. He turned, looking back at the mask lying on the ground. That is why you hide your identity with that mask, right? Haku asked. You don't want them to know who you are, save for a select few? It would be different with you, Naruto said. You don't have. He rested a hand on his stomach and swallowed. Your Kekkai Genkai would be welcomed in our village, Naruto said. You would be welcomed in our village. The third Hokage is a good man, and so are you, Haku said. Even if you are just a boy, you make it sound like you're all grown up, Naruto smirked. Perhaps, Haku nodded. Suddenly, he raised his right hand, forming hand seals before vanishing. Naruto spun, looking first towards Sasuke, to see him lying on the ground, still pinned under Naruto's sword and perfectly healthy, mostly. Naruto attached a chakra thread to his mask and pulled it to himself. He knew where Haku went. Menma pulled his mask on, then pulled his sword to himself with a second chakra thread and turned, sprinting toward Kakashi and Zabuza. The mist was lifting. Menma could almost see. He closed his eyes. There. Kakashi had caught Zabuza using several dogs, summoning animals most likely. He had used some form of jutsu to attack, but Haku had intervened. Now, Haku was holding onto Kakashi's arm, barely alive but just enough to have cancelled the summoning by hitting the scroll with Senbon, and no keeping Kakashi from backing away. Zabuza was free. He drew his sword, slashing. Menma landed beside Kakashi, blocking Zabuza's sword with his own. Kakashi leapt backward, setting Haku down and closing his eyes. Not bad, kid, Zabuza smirked. You defeated Haku and you saved Kakashi. But you can't fight against me. I know, Menma said. I don't intend to fight against you. I'm just going to stop you from moving. He shoved Zabuza's sword to the side, then tossed his own at Zabuza. It hit Zabuza in the stomach, knocking him to the ground and landing diagonally across his body. What is this? Zabuza spat. How is it so heavy? Menma turned, walking over to Haku and kneeling. Damn it, Haku, Menma sighed. You could have been one of us. We could have been friends. Zabuza's unable to move. My sword can only be moved by someone with the seal I possess on my left hand. All right, Kakashi nodded. Nice work. Yeah, nice work, Sasuke said, landing beside Menma. You pinned me down with that goddamn sword in the middle of a fight, went on a rampage, then ended your rampage before it was even useful. I won the fight, Sasuke, Menma said. There was no need for Haku to die. Kakashi turned, walking towards Zabuza. Menma and Sasuke following. Get this thing off of me. Zabuza raged as everyone stopped just out of range of his sword. I can render his arms useless, Menma offered. Do it, Kakashi nodded. Menma nodded and hurled a kunai at Zabuza. Zabuza blocked it, and Menma appeared over him, grabbing his wrists. Seal script spread over Zabuza's arms instantly, then flashed and faded. Zabuza shouted in pain, his sword falling to the ground just above his head. Menma set Zabuza's arms at his sides gently, deciding not to cause any unnecessary pain, not that his seal had literally shredded Zabuza's muscles. He picked up his sword and jumped back to Kakashi, putting his sword on his back. What did you do to me? Zabuza asked, face scrunched up in pain. It's a particularly nasty seal that uses the chakra it's made out of to shred the muscles of any limb it's placed on, Menma said. I don't really care much for it, but because you're as dangerous as you are, there isn't much choice. Well, looks like you couldn't do the job after all, could you, Zabuza? A cocky voice asked from the end of the bridge. They turned to look, seeing a short man with a casted left arm, an expensive suit, and bushy brown hair standing in front of a mob of thugs armed with a lot of nasty-looking weapons. Gato? Zabuza growled. I don't understand. What is all this? Why are you here? And who are these thugs you brought with you? Well, you see, there's been a slight change in plan, Gato said, tapping his walking stick on the ground. According to the new plan, you die right here on this bridge, Zabuza. What? Zabuza snarled. That's right, Gato smirked. You're too expensive, so I've decided to take you off the payroll. Of course, even these thugs I brought with me cost something. So if you could manage to slaughter a few of them before they take you down, I'd appreciate it. Think you can manage that, demon ninja of the mist? Look at you. You look about as demonic as a wet kitten. The thugs laughed. Clearly, they had never seen a ninja. Zabuza probably didn't need arms to kill them. He'd probably enjoy it too. Well, Kakashi, Zabuza growled. It would seem our fight is at an end. Since I am no longer in Gato's employ, Tazuna is safe. We have no quarrel. Yeah, I suppose you're right, Kakashi agreed. Gato walked forward, stopping beside Haku's body and smirking down at it. That reminds me, Gato said. You little punk. You grabbed me and nearly broke my arm. He pushed Haku's head with his foot, as though testing to see if he was actually dead. I've been meaning to repay you for that, Gato sneered, then kicked him as hard as he could. Heh. I only wish he was alive to feel it. What the hell's wrong with you? Menma spat. Quiet, Menma, Kakashi said. Haku's dead, what does it matter? Zabuza said. What? Menma hissed. You don't care? You're just going to stand there and let him be treated like a dog. You two were together for years. Didn't he mean anything to you? You don't understand the way of shinobi, Zabuza said. I merely used him, like Gato used me. Now, his usefulness is at an end. The loss of his strength and skill, yes, that means something to me. But the boy? Nothing. You truly are a monster, Menma snarled. Haku lived for you. He died for you. You were the most important thing in the world to him. And he meant nothing to you? Nothing at all. While he was sacrificing everything for you, you never cared anything at all for him? His entire life, he fought only to fulfill your dream. You never let him have a dream of his own. But he didn't care. And you just toss him aside like he was nothing but a broken tool. If getting strong means being like you, then I'd rather stay weak. Because at least then I'm able to care about others. You talk too much, Zabuza said. Menma focused on Zabuza again, ready to shout some more, but stopped as he saw a tear fall to the ground in front of Zabuza. Your words cut deep, Zabuza said, looking up at the sky. Deeper than any blade. While he fought you, his heart was breaking in two. You see, Haku was always too soft and too kind. He felt pain and sorrow. And now, curse him, I feel them too. And now something else. I feel content that this is the way it ends. He suddenly began to move his head, using his teeth to unwrap his face. Well, cat got your tongue? Zabuza asked, smiling. Are you so surprised to find that I'm human? Even shinobi are human. No matter how hard we try to escape that simple fact, we always fail. Well, at least I have failed. Boy, give me your kunai. All right, Menma nodded, pulling out a kunai and tossing it to Zabuza. Zabuza caught it in his mouth by the grip, then charged forward. He was fast. Even as weakened as he was fast. Gato shouted in fear, staggering backward before turning, sprinting away, shoving his way through the army of thugs. That's enough of this. Gato shouted. Do it. Take him down now. The thugs cheered, one of them stepping forward and proclaiming Zabuza to be insane. Less than a second before Zabuza killed him with the kunai. Zabuza began to duck and slash his way through the thugs, avoiding blades and slashing any that got too close. Then, one stepped into his way, slashing at him only for him to jump, flipping forward and landing on his feet. As he landed, a thug drew a pair of scimitars. He slashed at Zabuza, but Zabuza avoided it, kicking him in the jaw and breaking his neck. Then, he ducked under another weapon, slashing its owner's throat. A very large fat thug stepped forward, raising a club, but Zabuza slashed him as he passed. Before he could get far, a thug planted a spear in his back. He kicked the thug, shouldering past another, and continued. Another spear entered his back. Another thug died. Then, Zabuza burst out the back of the mob, charging Gato. As soon as he drove the kunai into Gato's chest, 5 more weapons drove themselves into Zabuza's back. Zabuza staggered forward, barely on his feet and coughing up blood. The kunai was still in Gato's chest. Zabuza grinned at him. You crazy fool, Gato snarled. If you're so eager to join your friend, go ahead. But you're not taking me. Not this time. Nah, Zabuza said, slowly standing up straight. I won't be joining Haku. Where he's gone I cannot follow. He began to walk over to Gato, putting his face inches from the shorter man's. We wouldn't be welcomed where Haku's gone to. Zabuza sneered. Hell's where we're going, Gato. I can't think of a more fitting destination for a demon ninja, can you? I'm told there are many demons down there. Of all shapes and sizes. Oh yes, I should fit right in. You on the other hand, Gato, well I fear you're in for a long and very painful eternity. He bent down, grabbing the kunai with his mouth and ripped it out, then slashed Gato across the chest. He spun, slashing him again. Gato staggered backward, his glasses falling off. Zabuza stepped on the glasses, then pivoted around Gato before slashing his throat, throwing Gato off the bridge. Gato crashed down in the water and Zabuza grinned around his kunai, then turned, looking at the mob who shouted in fear, separating and creating him a path back. Zabuza dropped the kunai, staggering through the mob, toward Haku. Halfway there, he fell to his knees, muttering to himself before collapsing. Menma stared at him for a moment, before the mob filled in, the one in front grinning. Don't go getting carried away with your celebration, the thug said. Who's gonna pay us now that Gato's gone? We sure ain't leaving empty-handed. So I guess we'll just have to hit up that village and see what they got. I don't think so, Menma growled, starting forward. Just as the mob began to charge, an arrow flew out of the sky, embedding itself in the ground in front of the leader, stopping the mob. Menma turned, then grinned. Inari was standing on the far end of the bridge, a pot tied onto his head like a helmet, a crossbow in his hands, and a second pot on his back for armor, alone with a quiver filled with crossbow bolts. Behind him stood most of the men from town, all armed with pitchforks, hoes, and any other tools that could be used as a weapon. Many of them had sticks, one even had an oar. Even Tsunami was there, unarmed. Inari. Menma cheered. Heroes usually show up at the last minute, you know? Imari grinned. Menma did as well. Then, he turned back to the mob. Alright then, Menma grinned. Let's get this party started. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. Smoke filled the area, then cleared, leaving dozens of Menmas. Kakashi smirked, standing. He moved to create shadow clones of his own, but Sasuke stopped him. It's alright, sensei, Sasuke said. We've got this. Kakashi smiled and nodded, pulling his forehead protector down over his Sharingan as Sasuke stepped forward, Sharingan active, and created 10 clones of his own. Copycat, Menma grinned as Sasuke stepped up beside him, all of the clones and the originals taking identical but mirrored stances. Ready when you are. No thanks. The thug shouted, sprinting to the edge of the bridge and leaping overboard, splashing down in the water then climbing onto the boat. Menma snorted as he and Sasuke released their clones and Menma stumbled, Sasuke catching him. You overdid it, Sasuke said. I'm still getting used to having my chakra be so strong, Menma said. It can be hard to use only a little at a time. Like trying to hold the ocean back to let a single drop through. Yeah, sure it is, Sasuke snorted. Menma laughed, pushing himself off of Sasuke and looking to Zabuza again as Kakashi walked over to him. After a moment of talking to Zabuza, who was apparently still alive somehow, Kakashi knelt, removing the weapons then picking the rogue ninja up. He carried him over to Haku and set him down. As he did, it began to snow. Thank you, Kakashi, Zabuza breathed as Kakashi set him down. Then, Kakashi stood, and walked away without a word. Menma turned away, deciding that he should give Zabuza some privacy to say his goodbyes. Instead, Menma walked to the railing, staring down at the water below, one hand on his stomach, the other supporting him against the railing. You worried about whatever that red chakra was? Sasuke asked, leaning on the railing next to him. I know what it is, Menma said. It's only just recently become a problem for me. It's why the villagers tried to kill you, Sasuke more said than asked, though Menma still nodded. You're not whatever they think you are. You're a good person. And you will always fight for what you believe. You ended whatever that was before you killed Haku just because you didn't want to be a monster. Because you didn't want to be controlled by it. You don't have to be Naruto. You can choose your own path. Thank you, Menma said, smiling behind his mask. And Sasuke, yeah? Sasuke asked. Menma punched him in the top of the head. Ow. Sasuke complained. What the hell? That's for trying to sacrifice yourself for me, Menma said. And this one? He stomped on Sasuke's foot, making Sasuke clamp his mouth shut on a shout then lean against the railing, clutching his foot. Is for calling me that name when I'm wearing my mask, Naruto finished. Sasuke glared at him for a moment before smiling. Idiot, Sasuke snorted. Show off, Menma grinned. After a couple more minutes, Sakura and Kakashi walked over. Well, Tazuna says we can stay at his house until we finish the mission, which is technically to be his bodyguard until the bridge is finished, though I doubt that will be necessary now, Kakashi said. So, we're all heading back for today. They're going to continue work tomorrow. Menma nodded, pushing off the railing, and they all headed back to Tazuna's house to rest. A few days later, the bridge was finished and they were headed home. Menma waited as the others left the Hokage's office. Once again, he closed the door, placing the silencing seal himself this time. Is there something else, Naruto? Hiruzen asked. The boy Haku, Menma said. I never told the others this, Kakashi might know already, but he was innocent. While fighting us, he never once aimed at a fatal spot. Even in the last attack that was meant to take me down, he was only aiming for points that would put me in a state of death. You're sure? Hiruzen asked. Yes, Menma nodded. 100%. I see, Hiruzen nodded. And what is it about this you felt the need to tell me? After I stopped my rage, once I was in control, Haku wanted me to kill him, Menma said. But I refused. The others don't know, but I offered him the chance to join the Hidden Leaf, so that he didn't have to die. So that he could live a life for himself, rather than for Zabuza. Did you now? Hiruzen mused. But he refused? He did, Menma nodded. If he had agreed, would you have accepted him? I'm not sure, Hiruzen said. And I suppose it's a moot point now. Unless you intend to extend the invitation to others as well. If I did, if there were others that I thought deserved a second chance, and that would be able to find it in the Hidden Leaf, would you accept them into the village? If they deserved it? Naruto, you are an excellent judge of character, Hiruzen said. You are compassionate, and you fight even for those who fight against you. If you truly believed they deserved a second chance, and that they wouldn't turn on us if given the chance, then yes. I would accept them into the village. Menma nodded. I just had to know, Menma said, removing the seal. I had to be sure the last thing I said wasn't a lie, and with that, he left. He headed down to the street, then began to walk through it, not really sure where he was going, but going somewhere anyway. His feet carried him more or less of their own free will. A few minutes later, he was in the third training ground. He stopped. Hinata and Kiba were there. He stayed behind the tree, looking out at them. Akamaru wasn't there. Come on, Hinata, Kiba said. It could be fun. Just as friends. If it was just as friends, you'd let me invite Menma, Hinata said. Menma raised an eyebrow. Since when was she anything but shy? Look, I told you, he's not the kind of guy you should be hanging around, Kiba growled. He's a monster, Hinata. Whatever power he used, he tore those guys apart. Literally. He tore a sickle out of a guy's face. He used a chain to tear a guy's head off. He's a fucking monster, Hinata. A freak. And he lost control again on his last mission. You can't be around him anymore. He's bound to lose control and kill you. Well, then it's a good thing you can't tell me who I can and can't hang out with then, isn't it? Hinata said, turning to walk away. Hey, don't you walk away from me. Kiba snapped, grabbing her wrist. Let me go, Kiba, Hinata warned. Kiba blinked, then released her. I'm sorry, Hinata, Kiba said. I was way out of line. Yes, you were, Hinata said. I'm sorry, Kiba sighed. I worry about you, Hinata. I know, Hinata said. But you don't need to. Menma would never hurt me. Alright, Kiba sighed. I still don't trust him, but alright. I'm heading home. I'll see you around, Hinata. Alright, Hinata nodded. Goodbye. Kiba turned and walked away. Menma waited, counting the seconds until 2 minutes had passed and stepped out, walking into the field where Hinata was still standing, deep in thought. What ya thinking about? Menma asked as he approached. She looked over at him and smiled. Hello, Menma, Hinata smiled. It's nothing important. Oh, alright then, he smiled. So, how are things on your team? Well, Kiba's still trying to ask me out, Hinata said. Really? Menma asked. Did you tell him you're waiting for Naruto? I think he thinks I dreamed it, Hinata said. Well, that's his fault, Menma shrugged. Doesn't it get annoying? Kind of, Hinata admitted. I feel really bad for turning him down all the time. It's his fault for asking, Menma shrugged, leaning against the middle pole beside her. Have any fun missions? Not like you, Hinata said. I've mostly been catching lost pets and pulling weeds. I heard you fought a Jonin and a Kekkei Genkai wielder. Word travels fast, Menma smiled. What else have you heard? I heard that whatever happened at the temple happened when you were fighting the Kekkei Genkai user, Hinata said quietly. I thought you had, Menma sighed. It did. I didn't kill anyone this time though. That's good, Hinata nodded. Sasuke said you stopped it yourself? You talked to Sasuke? Menma asked. Hinata nodded. Should have known, Menma chuckled. Well, he's right. I did stop it myself. I didn't want to be a monster. Because I didn't want to disappoint you. I don't think you're a monster, Hinata said. You never did, Menma mumbled. What? Hinata asked, confused. It's nothing, Menma said. So anyway, I have this ability I need your help with. My help? Hinata asked. What can I do? Well, the ability works kind of like a Byakugan, Menma said. It allows me to sense things in every direction, including my own chakra, as though I was seeing it. Except, it's really disorienting. Yes, using the Byakugan was the same way at first, Hinata nodded. You want me to spar with you until you're able to keep yourself oriented with it? I was kind of hoping there was a trick to it, Menma said. Well, not really, Hinata said. For the Byakugan, it's like normal sight. With normal sight, you can see 180 degrees, but mostly in peripheral vision. You can focus on different spots, but the rest is peripheral. Except, until you learn to use it properly, you try to focus on everything. I think it's the same problem for your sensing ability. Most Hyuga learn to focus by sparring. Is that how you learned? Menma asked. Yes, Hinata nodded. Alright, Menma agreed. Please train me. Hinata smiled and nodded, taking a stance with her legs spread a bit, and turned with her left side toward him, her left arm extended and the palm facing him, fingers joined and bent forward slightly, and her right arm horizontally beside her waist with the hand in the same position. Menma closed his eyes, allowing his senses to extend to complete vision. He instantly lost track of which was forward. However, thanks to knowing Hinata was in front of him, he knew to step backward, not forward, when she ran at him, jabbing at him with her right hand in a palm strike. She sidestepped, and the next strike she threw hit him in the chest. It wasn't hard, just enough for him to know he got hit. He tried to focus on Hinata without blocking the rest of his sensory vision, but it was hard. She moved again, jabbing at him. He tried to block it but went in the wrong direction, and she got him in the back. He turned as she moved and jabbed again. Again he tried to block and again she hit him, in the shoulder this time. I hate this ability, Menma complained. Don't worry, Menma, Hinata smiled. You'll get the hang of it. Easy for you to say, he huffed. You grew up with the Byakugan. I only gained the ability to use this on my last mission. Exactly, Hinata nodded. You have to give it time. She jabbed again hitting him in the back. He spun, trying to block her next strike and succeeded. He cheered just before her next hand, which he could swear was her right, hit him on her left side. He sighed. He got lucky. That was all. She stepped back, he thought, and relaxed her stance. He opened his eyes, seeing her smiling. Maybe we should try something else, Hinata said. If you really want to learn it in a matter of minutes. That would be nice, Menma said. Close your eyes again, Hinata said. He did so, extending his vision, and she held her hand up. Using your eyes and without opening them, follow my hand, Hinata instructed, moving her hand to the side. Right. Left, back to the other side. Right, Hinata said, moving her hand to his right again. Left, back to the other side. Right. Left. Right. Left. Right. Left. Up. Down. Up. Down. I feel like an idiot, Menma said. Is it working? Hinata asked. Actually, yeah, Menma said. But it doesn't solve front and back. Hinata thought for a moment, then began to walk around him. Left side, Hinata said. Back. Right side. Front. As she walked, his eyes followed her behind his eyelids. Then, when she started to go behind him, he lost orientation. Then, when she was on his right and moving in front of him again, he was oriented again. He groaned. No use, Menma sighed. Have you ever focused on your peripheral vision without moving your eyes? Hinata asked. Yeah, Menma said. It's kind of like that, Hinata said. Try to focus on my hand moving your eyes, then stop moving them and keep track of which way my hand is moving. He sighed but nodded. Hinata raised her hand, beginning to walk back and forth in front of him, alternating where her hand was between left, right, up, and down at random. For a moment he moved his eyes with her hand. Then centered his eyes, tracking her hand as she had said. Then she kept walking right. And kept walking. And then, suddenly, he realized he was able to track her behind himself as well. She tossed something into the air and a moment later, a ball was falling in front of himself, a little of her chakra channeled into it so he could see it. At the same time as he moved to catch the ball, Hinata stepped forward, throwing a palm strike at him. He caught the ball in his left hand, and her wrist in his right. Very good, Hinata smiled. Oh my God, Menma gaped. I did it. It worked. Hinata, you're a genius. I could kiss you. You're welcome, Hinata smiled. Menma closed his eyes, experimenting, looking all around himself. Then, he tried something else. A moment later, his vision was looking down from above. His depth perception wasn't good, but he could see himself and Hinata. And, with a little experimentation, he could swing his view around, looking around the area, even zoom in through the trees, only, when zooming in, he was the center again. This is so much better, Menma smiled, hugging Hinata. Thank you so much, Hinata. You're welcome, she smiled, hugging him back. Then, she pulled back, taking her combat stance again. He grinned, taking his own and closing his eyes. She stepped forward, jabbing at him, and he swept her strike to the side, throwing one of his own. He caught his wrist, and suddenly his hand was numb. His eyes flew open and he staggered backward, staring at his hand then her. Oh, sorry, Hinata said. I should have warned you. I use gentle fist-style combat. I don't put much physical force into my strikes, but each strike I send a pulse of chakra out through whatever I strike with. I can make limbs go numb, or I can tear organs and muscles apart. If my Byakugan were stronger, I could see chakra points and shut down chakra flow, but I can't do that. Could you learn to? Menma asked. In theory, Hinata nodded. I would have to strengthen my Byakugan for it. That's actually really difficult. I'd have to focus my Byakugan on the smallest thing I can see with them for hours a day for days on end, if not longer. Sounds like a plan to me, Menma said. In the meantime, you can teach me to use Gentle Fist. You want to learn Gentle Fist? Hinata blinked. Why? Well, I already have the sensory equivalent of the Byakugan, Menma shrugged. It could be fun to mess with people and make them think I have Byakugan by using Gentle Fist too. I suppose it would also give you an advantage, Hinata mused. Alright. But you have to be the person I learned to use chakra points on. Is that safe? Menma asked. I think so, Hinata said. I've never targeted chakra points before. As long as you can undo whatever damage you do then, I guess, Menma shrugged. Hinata's face fell and Menma sighed. That's not what I meant, Hinata, Menma said. I just meant as long as it doesn't involve permanent damage to my chakra network, I don't care if it's safe. It means I trust you. Hinata smiled at him and shook his head. No, it's alright, Hinata said. I understand. I'll make sure it's safe to practice on someone first. Well, actually, first you have to learn to see them, Menma pointed out. Oh hush, Hinata snorted, rolling her eyes. Now you want to continue? Menma nodded, grinning and closed his eyes. Menma walked down the street with Hinata, smiling behind his mask. You did really well today, Menma, Hinata said. Yeah, I can finally launch enough chakra out of my hand to bend paper, Menma laughed. I'm real deadly. I actually meant keeping yourself oriented, Hinata said. But that too, Menma laughed, and shook his head. In truth, she was making much more progress than him. And training with him had actually done wonders for her own abilities too. He was hard-pressed to keep up with her while trying to use Gentle Fist, and her precision and chakra control were leagues beyond his. Menma closed his eyes, and shook his head, then opened them, blinking. There were 3 people behind them. He stopped, turning and looking back, seeing a cardboard box with rocks drawn on and a pair of eye holes cut in the front sitting on the ground behind him. That is the worst disguise I've ever seen, Menma stated. Ah man, how'd he see through it so fast? A young male voice whined. Fast? A female asked. We've been following them for the last 3 blocks. It's because he's awesome. A second male voice declared. Oh God, not them again, Menma sighed. Suddenly, the box exploded. Multicolored smoke rose into the air around the 3 academy students, making them cough. I think we used a little too much gunpowder, the group's leader, Konohamaru Saratobi, coughed. All 3 suddenly jumped up, forming a line. Menma rested his mask in his right hand, his left arm folded across his chest and holding his right bicep. I'm Moegi, the sexiest girl in preschool, Moegi introduced herself, winking. I like algebra, you can call me Udan. Udan introduced himself. And I'm the greatest ninja in the village, Konohamaru said. I'm Konohamaru. Who are they? Hinata asked. They're just some kids from the academy that have been following me around any time I'm here ever since I passed Kakashi's bell test, Menma snorted. Hey! Konohamaru whined. That's not nice. Everyone knows I'm your greatest rival. You are? Hinata asked. Don't encourage him, Menma groaned. That's right. Konohamaru said proudly. Say, who are you anyway? You're really pretty. Thank you, Hinata said, her shyness returning under attention. Hey Menma, is she your girlfriend? Konohamaru asked. Hinata blushed instantly and Menma did as well, though his mask hid it. What? Menma said. No. It's nothing like that. We're just training together. Looks like you were on a date to me, Moegi said. A boy and a girl. Alone. Shut it, Moegi, Menma growled. It wasn't a date. We were just headed back to her house after training. So you were walking her home then? Konohamaru grinned. Menma slammed his palm into his forehead, groaning. I'm done with you, Menma said, turning and walking away. Come on, Hinata. Your father will kill me if I make you miss lunch. Already worried about the in-laws? Konohamaru grinned. Menma froze. He instinctively knew Hinata was probably bright red right now. Honestly, so was he. But he also knew he was done with the little stalker. That's it, you little brat. Menma snarled, spinning around. Come here, Konohamaru spun, sprinting away and laughing. Menma followed, then Moegi, Udan, and Hinata. Konohamaru, wait up! Moegi complained. Yeah, Konohamaru, wait up! Menma snarled. Stay away! Konohamaru shouted over his shoulder, seconds before crashing headlong into a shinobi wearing a black bodysuit with cat ears on the hood, white circle with half the inside maroon and half yellow, purple face paint on his chin, cheeks, and above his nose, and something on his back wrapped in bandages with brown hair or fur sticking out. Beside the boy was a girl a little older than him, at a guess, with blonde hair and 4 spiky ponytails like Shikamaru's one, a lavender dress that ended maybe halfway down her thighs, a red belt, a fishnet top under the dress, and a large metal object on her back. It looked like a huge metal rectangle, but Menma seriously doubted that was all it was. Can I help you? The boy asked Konohamaru, grabbing him by his blue scarf, lifting him up off the ground, holding the scarf in a way that was choking Konohamaru. Hey, put him down! Menma ordered. Or what? The boy snorted. Menma glanced at the forehead protector on the boy's hood. Hidden Sand Village. The girl had her headband around her neck, with the same crest. Menma grinned, drawing his sword. These 2 were from away. They didn't know him. Or I'll make you, Menma warned. Oh, the kid wants a fight, the boy grinned. Actually no, Menma smirked. The sword's a gift to welcome you to our village. Catch! Konohamaru picked his feet up as Menma tossed the sword to the boy. It hit him in the upper legs, tipping him over backward then pinning them down. He shouted in surprise, dropping Konohamaru, who darted around behind Menma, and the girl stared down at the boy. Well? She said. Get up. I can't. The boy gaped. I can't lift the thing. The girl stared at him then rolled her eyes, bending down and trying to lift it. Nothing. What? The Temari gaped. What kind of sword is that? It's a really good one, Menma said. Pretty heavy, huh? She stared at him as he walked over. She inched away, reaching for the object on her back. Menma shook his head, chuckling. Then, he reached down and lifted the sword off with one hand, flipping it a few times then putting it on his back again. The 2 stared at him like he had 2 heads. Menma walked back to Konohamaru and knelt. Apologize, Menma said. I'm sorry, Mr. Konohamaru said. It was an accident, I swear. Yeah, whatever, the boy said. Hey, you with the mask. What's your name? Menma Uzumaki, Menma said. Pleasure to meet you. Yeah, the boy snorted, removing the object from his back. Sure it is. You're going to use the crow for this? The girl asked, worried. We got a few minutes before he shows up, the boy said. Relax. I'll be quick about it. He'll be none the wiser. But first, the boy held his hand out, then made a come here motion with his index finger. Naruto's eyes snapped shut instantly, seeing the chakra thread attached to Hinata's waist, already yanking her over. He held out an arm, catching her as she passed, then drew his trench knife, streaming his chakra along it and cut the thread. The 2 segments glowed for a moment, becoming visible to the naked eye, then faded. Menma opened his eyes and lowered his knife to his side as Hinata stepped back, arms in front of herself like she did whenever she was most nervous or afraid. That was a stupid idea, Menma said. Now I know 3 things about you. Oh? The boy grinned. And what's that? You're a puppet master ninja, Menma said, holding up a finger on his left hand. Which would make that crow thing your puppet. Second, you're stupid. And third, I'm going to beat your ass into the ground so hard your sister there will feel it. Or am I wrong about that? Good guess, the girl nodded. I'm Temari. This is my dumbass brother Kankuro. Kankuro suddenly drew a kunai, pulling it back. His eyes burned with rage and bloodlust. However, before he could throw the knife, a pebble slammed into his hand hard enough that he dropped the knife and his puppet, clutching his hand. Oh, and that's another thing, Menma grinned behind his mask. You're too focused on me. You didn't even notice Sasuke up there, did you? Kankuro and Temari both looked up, seeing Sasuke lounging in a tree on Menma's right, tossing a second pebble over and over in his hand. Who the hell are you? Kankuro snarled. Didn't you hear? Sasuke asked. I'm Sasuke. Oh, a wise guy, huh? Kankuro snarled. Well, why don't you come down here so I can see how smart you really are? Kankuro, a new voice spoke up, dripping with malice and death threats. Back off. Everyone froze. Fear coated Kankuro's face. Everyone turned to look, seeing a new boy, another Sunagekyo shinobi, hanging upside down from a tree branch on the opposite side of the same tree Sasuke was in. He wore black pants, a black shirt, a mesh shirt under that, a white cloth diagonally across his chest from his right shoulder with the extra length currently hanging toward the ground about level with his neck. A very thick tan leather strap diagonally across his chest the other way with his headband tied around it near his waist, and 2 smaller straps attached to the large one just above the headband and reaching around to the back in order to hold the giant gourd he had with him on his back. Ceiling tags on the gourd, a cork in the top of the gourd, a red cloth tied around the gourd, and red hair the exact same shade as Menma's own. Where the hell did this guy come from, Menma thought. I didn't sense him before, so he clearly wasn't here. How'd he move so fast but so quiet? You're an embarrassment to our village, the boy said. Have you forgotten the reason we came all the way here? Hey Gaara, Kankuro said, forcing a smile to hide his fear. And no, I remember. They challenged us. I mean, they started the whole thing really. Menma clapped a hand over Konohamaru's mouth before he could object. Konohamaru nodded and Menma let go. See, here's what happened, Kankuro began. Shut up, Gaara ordered. Or I'll kill you. Right, Kankuro said, hands up at his sides in a motion meant to defuse the situation, hopefully. I was totally out of line. I'm sorry, Gaara. I was totally out of line. I'm sorry for any trouble he caused, Gaara said, looking at Menma, allowing Menma to see that the kanji for love was carved into the left side of his forehead with his otherwise messy hair parted over the scar. Suddenly, sand began to fall from around the boy and he vanished, reappearing in the sand cloud as it reached the ground. He stood as the sand seemed to vanish, then turned to leave. Let's go, he growled. We didn't come here to play games. Alright, Kankuro nodded. Sure, I get it. Hold on, Menma spoke up, stopping them. Just what are the 3 of you doing in our village anyway? What have you been under a rock your whole life? Temari snorted. Actually, I just got back from a mission, Menma said. What did I miss? The Chunin exams are being held soon, Temari said. Are they really? Menma blinked, looking to Hinata who nodded. I didn't think they'd be for a little while, Menma said. Guess that explains it then. Temari smirked and turned, continuing to walk away, following Gaara. Hey you! Menma called out after glancing at Sasuke, seeing him watching Gaara. What's your name? Temari and Kankuro both turned to look at him. The one with the gourd, Menma said. Gaara, was it? That's right, Gaara said, turning. I'm Gaara of the desert. And who are you? I'm Menma began. Not you, Gaara said. You don't interest me. I mean him. Gaara pointed at Sasuke who smirked at Menma. My name is Sasuke Uchiha, Sasuke said. And my friend is Menma Uzumaki. You would do well to remember both of us. Is he strong? Gaara asked, staring at Menma, bloodlust flooding out of his eyes. Even more than from Zabuza's. Very, Sasuke nodded. Then I might, Gaara said. Let's go. He turned, walking away and the other 2 followed. Sasuke dropped down beside Menma, watching Gaara. Menma closed his eyes, focusing on Gaara. His chakra was much stronger than the other 2. His chakra felt wrong. Evil. Unstable. Darker than Zabuza's could ever be. Just then, Hinata began to fall. Menma spun, catching her and gently setting her down, holding her upper body in his lap. Hinata, hey, come on now, open your eyes, Menma said, snapping his fingers in front of her face. Damn. She's out. What, because she didn't react to you snapping your fingers? Sasuke asked. Actually, yeah, Menma said. He turned, looking at Sasuke and held his hand in Sasuke's direction, then snapped. Except for Sasuke, the sound was amplified several times over, making him stagger backward and cover his ears. What the hell? Sasuke said, as he lowered his ears. What was that? That was what happens when I use a very special seal to aim and enhance sonic vibrations, Menma said. Neat trick, huh? Jesus! Sasuke said, checking his ears for blood. What kinds of seals do you not have? Oh, I have almost everything, Menma said. I could probably fight an entire battle with just sealing jutsu, now that my clones have read and practiced about half of the seals I got from the temple. Half? Sasuke gaped. That's it? After all this time? I told you there were a lot, Menma said. Anyway, I better get her home. Her father's going to kill me. What happened to her? Konohamaru asked. Gaara's killing intent was too much for her, Menma said. But I didn't feel it, Konohamaru said. That's because you couldn't see his eyes through me, Menma said. And even aside from that, it was aimed at me and Sasuke, and Hinata just got a little too close. Anyway, I better go. Sasuke nodded and Menma left, leaping from building to building until he arrived at the Hyuga compound. One of the Hyugas present sprinted over instantly, demanding to know what had happened. She just tired herself out training, Menma lied. She'll be alright in a little bit. She just needs rest. The Hyuga nodded, taking her, then hurried inside. Menma turned, leaving and heading to the bridge where they were supposed to meet Kakashi. As he did, Gaara dominated his thoughts. That kid was going to be trouble. Maybe more than the village was bargaining for. Menma watched from the ceiling as the ninja in front of the door punched another ninja, a kid with jet black hair and a bowl cut, bushy black eyebrows, a tight green jumpsuit, orange leg warmers, bandages on his hands, and a red headband around his waist, sending him careening backward and onto his rear. The ninja's friend, who was standing beside him, grinned and sniffed. Ha! The one who punched him laughed. You're taking the Chunin exams but you can't even get past us? The ninja had a bandana with his forehead protector, displaying his hidden leaf crest, brown hair, a blue bodysuit extending up from his gray shirt to his chin, gray pants, and blue sandals. The other had long, raven hair, a blue headband, a large nose, a blue shirt with black sleeves, a white cloth around his neck, white pants, and a pair of swords like large kunai on his back. Why don't you give up now before you get hurt? The first ninja said. Yeah, I think I hear your mommy calling ya, the second said, then sniffed. Please let us through, we're supposed to go in there. The ninja in green's female teammate, a girl with her brown hair and two buns on either side of her head, a pink shipao, and blue pants said, walking forward. A moment later, she too was punched and sent to the ground beside the ninja in green. Menma closed his eyes and smirked. The one in green had a lot of chakra, but it was distorted somehow. The girl's chakra level was pretty decent as well, but nothing unusual. Then, there was another ninja who Menma guessed was also with them. He had a lot of chakra. And it was potent. And familiar. It felt similar to Hinata's. So, he was a Hyuga. Menma opened his eyes, looking up toward the floor where Sasuke and Sakura were standing below him, both watching the scene as well. Some of you won't survive the exams, others will be wrecked for life, and some of you may go crazy, the first ninja blocking the door was saying. For Chunin, it's always life and death. You think it's a joke? The second asked. Chunin are qualified to lead missions. The lives of your squad members are in your hands, so you better be tough enough to take the heat. Delicate little girls don't belong here. We're just thinning out the herd, the first said. You won't graduate anyway, so just go home and play with your dolls. Real nice speech, Sasuke said as he and Sakura walked over, Menma dropping to the floor beside them. Now both of you step aside and let me through, Menma smirked. They didn't even need to go in. The sign above the door said room 301. But they were on the second floor, making it 201. Genjutsu. Sasuke was showing off. Again, and while you're at it, reverse the genjutsu, Sasuke said. We can see through your illusion anyway.